a reason. I don't even fucking remember how I had this set up. Goddamn.
Between the two things.
Oh, yeah. Hi to anybody lurking. I'm Kiva, and this is Aurora, and we're gonna dye Aurora's hair.
Are there already people lurking?
I don't know.
It
I just
says
like to
who's
say
there
hi.
in the top.
Well, sometimes people are watching without clicking in.
Oh, I guess that's true. I opened it, so now I'm the person in.
Yeah.
Except it's not loading. Oh, there we go.
It's also not loading the
Oh, someone said hi, hello.
Yeah, someone is here. Hi. See? I'm not talking to nobody. Okay.
That wouldn't be unusual for you, though.
Oh, I did. That was rude.
I'm trying to... Oh, I can share this.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
I'm gonna link it on Instagram, I guess.
That sounds good. I'm excited to do your hair. I'm also just excited because they don't know what color that I'm doing. I picked the colors. Hi! I picked the colors and they don't know yet, so they're gonna guess.
I am gonna guess.
We were sent the colors by this company, Lunar Tides, where the team is really so nice. Like, they've literally been so kind to me. And I sent the colors, and I picked them, and they do not know yet, but they're gonna guess.
I am gonna guess.
And then I'm gonna reveal. I keep going out of frame because I have things so many places, and I'm waiting for you.
Oh, you're waiting for me?
Kind of.
For me?
For you? I just love you.
Yeah.
I should probably brush your hair first. I hope everyone's having a good day. What are you doing?
Cool. Now I'm going back to opening the chat. Sorry, I'm the chat guy.
What
I'm
are
not
you
doing
doing?
my job.
What were you doing?
I was sending things in group chats, but how do I get back to the chat? Oh, live chat. Yeah. Okay, cool.
If only I could find a reason. Your hair is brushed.
My
It's
hair
so
is
soft.
brushed.
This is beautiful. How's everybody doing? How are you doing?
Me?
Cutie pie.
I'm doing good.
Yeah. Do you need anything before
Yes,
we get started?
there are hair ties on their ears to make them pointy.
Yeah.
Can you get me juice?
Yeah.
I just want to be able to have juice. Hydrate. Hydration reminder.
Hydration.
Yeah, they've been rubber banding their ears probably at least since not last Halloween or the Halloween before that, but the Halloween before that one.
I think I started doing it in 2018.
2018. It was because you dressed up as Marceline, yeah?
No, I started doing it before then. That was just like when I started doing it almost every day.
Mm.
I was doing it before then for like costumes. I dressed up as fairies a lot.
Mm.
And I would do it. Or like things like that. Like when I was Tinkerbell in high school, I did it.
True.
So yeah, I've been doing it for a while.
Icon.
I'm just deeply self-conscious of my ears, to be honest with you.
I love your ears. I
Like,
think
it's
cute
literally
ears.
for no other reason. It's not even for the aesthetic. It's just because I think my ears are fugly.
I think your ears are cute.
I know. That's nice of you.
I think you have cute ears.
You're sweetie. I'm just going to tie up the top half.
That sounds
For
good.
right now. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do this.
I don't even know how you're going in with the application process. All a surprise.
Yeah, true. You have guesses, though, for your colors?
I do.
I'm
Are
so
they
excited.
are they two different colors? I mean, like
What do you
in
mean?
different. Like it's not two pinks, is it?
No, it's not two
Okay,
pinks.
Like
It's
okay,
not two
cool.
of the same shade
Cool.
of color.
No.
Or like the same color in different shades.
Okay, then
Does that
that
make
kind of
sense?
changes my guess a little bit.
Why?
Because originally I picked two purples.
What purpose?
Magic Salem and Smoky Purple.
Very interesting. You're very close,
I have a
actually.
reason.
You're very close.
You want to know my reason?
I do want to know your reason.
So, a little bit after we talked about you picking, we were talking about the different colors that my hair had been. Maybe it was even on a live. I don't remember. And I talked about how I've had purple in a lot of different shades, and there's purples that I didn't like and purples that I have liked. And you were like, but there's purples you've liked, right? And we were like, yeah, like.
That's so funny.
I feel like maybe you've been asked, like, do you prefer warm tones or cool tones?
That's so funny.
So then I was like, okay, well, it has to be a purple.
Me breaking a sweat.
Yeah. I also think that the person who picked them was Sylvie.
Yeah, it was.
Because I know Sylvie chose a color for your hair at some point.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives me a better guess as to my second color.
It was Sylvie. What is your first color that you're keeping? You're really close. It's kind of astounding.
My second color is blue. I'm just trying to decide what blue. I feel like it's so hard. I'm gonna show the card again. Okay, so I thought it was this one, which is like a dark purple, and this one, which is smoky purple. And purple's right, but I don't know which shade of purple quite yet. And my second guess is blue. I'm not sure what blue I'm guessing yet. I guess I'm gonna keep the smoky purple.
Uh-huh.
And I guess my second pick is gonna be blue velvet.
Let me see blue velvet.
Oh, it's this one. This one.
You're slay, but you're wrong.
Cool.
It is purple and blue.
Cool, okay.
I
I feel like only one person guessed purple and blue in my Instagram stories.
Yeah.
It was Pin System.
Mr. Guy guessed it immediately.
He said blurple.
He said blurple. But the two shades, pick up the cards so that.
I'm looking at the cards.
They are going to be Pastel Amethyst.
Ooh.
And Magic Shadow.
Magic Shadow. And Pastel Amethyst. Where's that? Oh, true. Okay. I'm excited. I'll show it. I will show off the little. Okay. So, Magic Shadow is this one. It's like a navy blue color. And then Amethyst is this one. And it's going to be multiple shades because we're mixing colors.
Yeah, I still don't really know how to keep like the highlighted parts separate while I'm doing the dark parts. I don't have like a ton of experience doing
You're just going for
such different like colors, you know what I mean? Usually it's more of like a blend.
You could tinfoil it.
I could tinfoil it, it would just be a lot of tinfoil.
Yeah.
Maybe I just will. It'll probably be just easier to keep it separate that way.
How was everyone else's day today?
I'm so
Ask us
excited.
questions. Tell us what you're up to.
Will you do me the favor of ripping foils then?
Yeah, how much and like how long?
They don't need to do this big by any means. They could be like
half
probably half of that.
Cool.
And yeah, I'm literally just gonna
How many foils do
probably
you
rip
want?
this one in half. You can keep going for a while. I'll tell you when it looks like it's close. But like, you have a lot of fucking hair.
That's true.
Like, I'm gonna say I'm probably gonna want like, I don't know. We'll get there when we get there. I'm gonna bring over this stuff.
Or we'll run out of foil.
Sure. I don't think we'll need that much that we'll run out of foil. We still have a lot of foil. But I'm gonna start on your hair if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Alright. I'm so excited.
But yeah, I guess Sylvie, because one, I remember that Sylvie's the one who wanted the color that you picked for yourself. And two, because I thought about the colors that it could be and like the reaction to purple, and I was like, I don't know. I feel like if you're pairing a color with purple and it's you, and I didn't want yellow, so it wasn't going to be LSU colors, that it was probably going to be purple and blue or purple and pink.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said it wasn't you who picked it. And I was like, okay. Then it was Sylvie.
Yeah.
Because of the color choice.
Well, I feel like...
Because a lot of it, to be honest. But
I feel like knowing Sylvie, it could have also been purple and mint.
That's fair.
But it wasn't. Okay. This is crazy.
Do you want me to keep ripping?
You can take a break. I don't really know how much I'll need, so I don't want you to just like rip all of the tinfoil in the house before I know that we're gonna use it.
Sounds good to me.
I'm just gonna...
There's 6 people hanging with us, but no one sent anything in the chat. I feel like it's probably harder maybe to chat here and you have to be logged in. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really know either. I like don't really do YouTube lives.
It's still... Instagram is ridiculous.
Instagram is ridiculous. I'm so upset about that, actually, for real.
I don't know if you guys saw what was up, but they literally just posted a screenshot of their notes app that said something like,
It said, which one of you gay bitches was up until 4:30 a.m. researching Ariana Grande? That's exactly what it said. And then I had captioned it with the real hard things about DID that no one tells you about, basically.
/J, like, is what it said.
Yeah, and it was like, the joke is obviously that I'm calling myself gay, that I'm making fun of myself for researching Ariana Grande, and then that I'm saying that that's the hard part of DID. And someone literally reported it for hate speech, and it got taken down.
And then you argued it, and they were like, nah, it's hate speech.
Yeah, Instagram was like, fuck you, you're homophobic. I was like, so true.
Meanwhile, me reporting literal, like, harmful content, and Instagram's like, I don't see the problem here.
Literally. Okay, I'm just gonna actually do this in more sections than I thought. I'm like, this is a learning process for me,
Okay. Hanging out.
Because I think, like, the very bottom layer, I don't want to have highlights in it. And then, as it goes up, there will be different differentiations.
Hi, we talked about the colors a little bit. I had guessed that it was going to be a shade of blue and purple. I guessed the wrong shades of blue and purple.
But it is going to be
But it is blue and purple.
It's going to be a nice dark blue with a pretty light pastel-y purple. But I'm mixing 4, like, different shades. So those 2 shades and then combinations of the 2 shades. So it's going to have some nice variation in it.
Also, hi, Alex. I think that's a cool name.
Alex! Alex! I hope you're having a good day. What?
You're just cute.
I'm just a little guy. Hey, hey, hey.
I am
I'm
just a little guy.
Just a little guy. It's my birthday.
True. Hello. Hi, Pixie.
Pixie! Hi, Bob. I just said so many nicknames at the same time that I didn't say one at all.
You said bub, love. There were a lot of things
Yeah, I
in
was
there.
trying to say love, and I was also trying to say bub, but I just said bub. Bub.
How are you? What's new with you?
Me? Or
The people of
people
chat.
of the internet.
The people of the internet.
I don't know.
Also, I feel like I'm gonna need help washing my hair so much.
Oh,
if
you
you're
definitely
doing
are.
so many different things with my hair.
You definitely are going to need help washing it.
Pixie said, I will be your bub.
Yeah, Bubby!
Someone else says, Daniel says, I'm actually dyeing my hair right now. What color?
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. This is a sleigh body double.
Yeah. Anyone else who has to dye your hair, join us. Hair dye party.
Yeah. I'm so excited to see what it looks like. You know I love you.
Yeah, I did know about it. Jazz said, hello, hope everyone's having a great day. Wasn't chatting because I was driving home.
Yeah. I hope your drive was safe and good. Proud of you for listening to the rules of the road. Driving is scary.
I also found out that the Chrissy thing is this weekend, not last weekend.
Oh.
Which is good.
That is good. We could still go. If you wanted.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice. It's also like a drag show type vibe.
Yeah, I saw. I thought it would make Chloe pretty happy too to see Chrissy.
Chrissy.
Right?
Yeah. I do know what color I'm dyeing it, finally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel said the top half of my hair is already blonde, but I'm dyeing the bottom half brown.
Ooh, that's so cool. I love that. I love like two-tone dye and like mixing shades, obviously. Also, this hair dye smells nice. I feel like the biggest problem though isn't even the dye or the foils, it's the gloves. I'm getting dye all over your other hair because there's dye on my gloves.
Oh.
So I'm like, maybe I'll just try to separate it with my hands and use the foils really smart and not have gloves on. And I'll just have dye on my hands. And that'll be okay.
You'll have purple and blue hands.
Yeah. And that'll be okay. I have purple and blue hands. You'll have purple and blue hair.
Yeah, I think that sounds pretty good.
Oh, okay.
We go to Pride on Saturday and everyone's just like, I know. I'm excited to go with you.
You're excited to go with me to Pride?
Uh-huh.
Because I've never been.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited too.
I think it'll be fun. Sorry.
Honestly, no dye got on it. That was kind of slay.
I don't know if you could tell, but they just dropped like pretty much all of my hair. It was funny, I promise.
I didn't get any dye on it, so it's fine. I mean, also, even if I did, it would be fine. Like, this is the color your hair is going to be, so. Okay. So, I'm just gonna, I don't know, slap a foil around that whole part. I guess I haven't untied this part yet. I'm not that smart.
Here you go.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I just needed to untie it because the way that it was tied, I couldn't reach the root.
Mm.
And the root wasn't dyed. But now, I'm just gonna...
Sage said, hi, I've been thinking about dyeing my hair blue. I used to have it purple and blue and I miss it.
Oh, that's so cool! I love fun colors.
Blue is one of my favorite colors on myself. Blue is up there, orange is up there. I feel like those are really the winners. For me, at least.
It needs to be a little more like... Yeah.
White. It needs to be white.
It needed to be white.
True. That sounds good.
I was like, when I look at this, it's missing some white.
True.
So, this... And then this can be... The part that I don't know what to do with is like, how am I going to keep out the highlights? Do I foil the highlights too? And then go back? Like, what am I supposed to do about that?
I think you're supposed to do the highlights now and foil them.
I mean, I just can't do both at the same time. We don't have more than one brush.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like...
I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know how I would do both without getting both in your hair at the same time and just mixing the colors, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, all I could think of is, like, oh, I could use my hands. But then I would have both colors on my hands. I couldn't touch your clean hair.
Yeah.
I guess I could go rinse the brush in between.
That's an option.
This is gonna make your hair take, like, literally 5 hours, though.
Hang out with us for 5 hours, I guess.
Also gonna turn our sink blue. Alright, well, I guess I'm gonna look for a little solution.
Sounds good to me.
We'll see what's gonna happen.
Be inventive like I was the other day with our really weird setup.
I'll try, but I'm not the ideas man.
You're right. I am the ideas man. That is my thing. I feel like YouTube chat is so, like, relaxing compared to, like... I mean, Instagram has its times of being really fast and then times of being slow, but TikTok was insane.
TikTok is the worst.
Literally, the amount of comments that came in gave me such anxiety. It's like, I can't keep up with any of it.
Yeah. But it also is kind of like, I don't know, it's been a transition for me because I, like, started going live by going live on TikTok. That was, like, my first really, like, live entertainment,
Yeah.
whatever thing. And because of that, I got very used to, like, there's such a high volume of comments in a TikTok live that you really can't do anything else but monitor the comment section. And so, like, sometimes I would do my makeup, but that was, like, literally the most I would do. Because I would just be answering people's questions and stuff. But I think what I've decided is I'm going to use a purple glove and a blue glove, and I'll just switch them up.
That's funny. Well, yeah, that answers the question. We're not in the dark about the color. It's going to be purple and blue. Specifically, Lunar Tides, Amethyst, and Lunar Tides, was it Magic Shadow is the other one?
Magic Shadow. Yeah.
And Amethyst.
Oh my god, how am I going to do this? I'm going to literally need 2 pairs of gloves.
Pixie said, I went live on TikTok one time. It wasn't too overwhelming, but I got lucky, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like it's really dependent. There's been times where you've gone lives and it's gone live on TikTok and it stayed small, but a lot of times, like...
Can you help me put this on?
What?
Just, like, pull it up. Yeah. Thank you. I just have purple in my other hand, so I couldn't do it.
Do you need more help than that?
I don't think so. But, actually, a little bit up my wrist. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of the time, my lives would be on, like, the For You page type of energy, and then, I would get, like, overloaded with, like, a lot of strangers being there, and it would be, like, 1,300 people all talking, and, like, half of them were just being homophobic.
True.
Crazy stuff.
Or just, like, the same, like, questions again and again that you had just explained.
What is DID? What is DID?
What does fronting mean? What does fronting mean?
It's funny.
Yeah, literally wild.
And I was just such, like, a people pleaser, too. I was literally like, okay, I'll sit here and answer the same questions over and over for 4 hours.
Some of you, yeah. And then other people in the system would be like, Google's free.
Which is true.
Which is, you're right, Google is free.
I just, like, I'm not that person.
No. That's true.
Yeah, I remember one time, Harmony went live and people were being homophobic and weird, and Tempest literally switched out and was like, I'm fucking leaving, I hate you guys, and ended it. I was like, so real.
Honestly, kind of iconic of him. Go Tempest.
I know, like, that's funny. Désolé.
Yeah.
That was, like, when Tempest and Harmony first split.
Mm. I mean, I feel like the additional problem is just that, like, even when people did have more interesting questions or, like, asked you things that, like, maintained thought, there were still, like, 10 people who were like, can you explain every other word that you just said because I don't know any of it.
And, like, that's, like, so fair. Obviously, I'm not expecting everyone to have, like, a baseline knowledge of DID that's very, like, informed, especially, like, considering how much is known about DID, and, like, if you don't have it and you don't love anyone who has it, like, you might just not know that much about it. But also, like, why do you think that my live is the one for you then? Like, why are you here? You know?
Yeah.
That always was the part that confused me. Because, like, I'm not going to sit here and just be confused for hours. Like, if you're confusing me, I'm just going to go do something else.
Or do some research.
Yeah. Or, like, do something I like. I don't know. I don't understand the online fixation with, like, engaging with content that you hate.
Me neither.
Like, if I hate something, I'm gonna go do something else.
But it's funny because those same people will comment on, like, well, not anymore because you don't use TikTok, but will comment on creators' posts like, why do I keep getting DID fakers? Maybe because you keep commenting.
Literally.
Like, maybe.
Develop a brain cell, just one.
Maybe the algorithm works in a way that it continues to show you things that you engage with.
Right. And then you're so mad because everyone's faking DID, and it's like, you invented that in your head because you decided to watch DID content. Okay, I think this is going better.
Pixie said, yeah, that sounds so scary, OMG. And Tomb System said, hate following is so immature.
Yeah, literally, I feel like by the time I left TikTok, I had like freaking 40% of my platform was hate following.
Yeah. I mean, whoever it was migrated to Instagram this morning.
Oh my god. Whatever. I'm honestly not even that mad about it anymore. I know I almost had a meltdown about it.
That's true. You did almost have a meltdown about
But
it.
I'm fine now.
Well, it's just because we made a
since then.
plan of what we were going to do, and then the plan didn't go according to plan because someone decided to report you for calling yourself gay.
That's true.
Atlas, you okay, puppy? You having a nightmare? Atlas? Hey, it was just a dream. Yeah, you're wagging your tail. You're happy, puppy.
He's like, thank God it was just a dream.
I feel like Atlas's nightmares must be like there wasn't enough peanut butter type of vibes.
I feel like Atlas's nightmare is like nobody is home all day.
Yeah. Atlas's nightmare is he's home alone all day without Rigby and no one.
Yeah.
That's about it. Even though that would never happen, nor has it
Saddest
ever
day of
happened.
Atlas's life would be being home alone.
I feel
Like
like
he would still be fine. He would just like play with a ball, lay down, nap.
I feel like literally the closest thing to that happening was when you guys took Rigby to the vet after he got attacked on our way to Massachusetts, and Atlas and I were in the hotel room alone.
Oh, was he really upset?
No. He was fine!
No, he was fine. That's
He
funny.
was literally fine. Oh, the words under your flowers is I am my own.
Oh, yeah.
It's a line from a poem they wrote.
It is.
They also drew the flower.
Slay, slay. Your hair is slaying.
I'll take your word for it.
This process is going to drive me absolutely nuts. We should have just gotten another hairbrush thingy, but I didn't know. And I didn't think about it.
You made your choices. It's okay.
It's okay. We're moving
It's happening.
on. Moving right along.
I kind of want to see the new Muppet show. I know that guy hates the Muppets. I know about it. But, like, I kind of want to see it.
You can see whatever you want to see.
I
I
just
don't think his hatred of the Muppets is going to stop you.
No, but, like, I keep seeing people post about it, and it looks cute.
Then watch it.
He liked Muppets The Office. And I say Muppets The Office, it is literally just called The Muppets, but it's in the Office font, and it's kind of the same format.
Yeah.
It's funny. But I'm excited. They released a show about the band.
Oh, wait, that was stupid.
What'd you do?
I didn't foil your hair before I decided I was moving on to the next section.
Ooh!
This is the most unprofessional hair foiling job in the entire world.
Ooh!
To be fair, I have never really done like foils while I've dyed someone's hair. Except for when I was doing like bleach blonde highlights on someone, but I feel like that's super different than this. And like the foil isn't here to be like a heat conductor or like a foil. It's literally just here to keep your hair separate.
Pixie
Which is
said, we watched the first episode. I love the Muppets. Lily Singh was a little hard to get used to, but it was fun. I forgot that she was in it.
Who?
Lily Singh.
I don't know who that is.
I Superwoman, I or whatever. Is it I's or X's? I don't remember. She's like an OG YouTuber. She's a comedian.
That makes sense.
What was the first episode like? What was your take? I feel like I've seen so many like new media things lately. I've been adventurous.
What have you seen?
I watched Spider-Verse the other day.
Mm.
I watched Kip while Marin was here. I finished Moon Girl. There's something else that I saw recently that was new media too. I feel like I've just been being out there.
Yeah.
Pixie said, I enjoyed it, but we didn't watch any more for some reason. Okay. I'll probably give the first episode a shot. I think it'd be nice. Also, give me media recommendations. I'm always looking for new things.
So true.
I feel like because of whatever we watched the other day, I want to go watch Drag Race All-Stars.
Oh, the Drag Race tier list video?
Yeah. We watch a lot of YouTube. That's true.
We do watch a lot of YouTube. I feel like it's mostly because of Guy Shape, though.
Yeah, he really likes video essays, so we watch a lot of that.
I'm just gonna do whatever I want.
Okay. I
I'm
told
so
you you
tired of
could.
Trying to.
I told you you could do whatever you wanted to.
Playing by the rules of someone else's game.
If you like The Office, have you seen The Mindy Project? I actually haven't seen The Office. I watched the Muppets version of The Office.
I haven't seen the real Office.
Actually, I've seen like 2 episodes of The Office, and there was just so much like secondhand embarrassment that I couldn't handle it. I couldn't watch it.
Oh my God.
My stepbrother really, really liked it. He was like, this is the funniest show I've ever seen. I just genuinely struggled. I watched
No, a lot of the straight people I know feel that way.
I watched Parks and Rec a little bit of it because of Guy Shape. I feel like of the similar... I don't know what other shows...
I think Parks and Rec is so good.
I don't know what other shows you'd put in that category of similar vibes, but Parks and Rec is the one that I prefer to The Office. I've never seen The Mindy Project, though.
I feel like people compare Parks and Rec and The Office a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I watched Abbott Elementary. I liked that.
Abbott is good. I feel like there are others that are in a similar style, but I don't think I've seen them.
I just thought of Abbott because it has the same, like, talking to the camera energy.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
What if they refilmed Glee, but it was in that style? I think that'd be so funny.
That would be iconic.
I keep getting people, like, making Glee commentary on TikTok, and I don't understand why, because I'm not liking it or engaging with it in any way. But I think it's funny, so I'm not mad. But there was a video that was, like, the room that I would give you based on your favorite Glee character, and it was really funny.
Why?
Because, like, their favorite character was Kurt's dad.
Uh-huh.
So that was the nicest room. I feel like a lot of the room choices, I was just like, I don't like, I kind of understand. Rigby, puppy, come on. The Kurt Hummel room was literally just, like, the most, like, rainbow capitalism, like, bullshit you've ever seen. I feel like the room for Finn was, like, Despicable Me themed, which made me laugh.
I was gonna say something, but I don't remember what it is now.
As someone who loves it, the secondhand embarrassment was constant. Yeah, I literally, like, especially, I think it's Scott's Tots is the episode. I couldn't handle it. It was just too much.
What?
The episode where, like, he has, like, a scholarship, but he actually never put money into it, so he has to tell all these kids that thought they were getting scholarship money or something like that, like, it isn't real.
Oh, shit.
It was something like that. I definitely probably butchered the episode, but I just remember being, like, horrified.
I can't watch this. Yeah. That's rough.
I don't really know what that comment means, but
What?
someone said, right, yeah, people daddy dogs, people.
What?
We do have dogs.
Right, yeah, people daddy dogs, people.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I always get really nervous because it happened all the time on TikTok, but it happened the last time we were on Instagram Live, but I didn't want to say anything and I forgot to tell you after. But someone did the, can you say blah, 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 or whatever it was.
Uh-huh.
And every time I'm like, I know that there's something in there that's, like, problematic that I'm going to say, and then you're going to be like, haha, got ya, type vibes. And I'm like, I just can't handle it. I don't trust you. I don't trust like that.
Yeah.
Apparently I was right about the episode.
Slay.
It was just really rough.
This one.
Hi, Rigby. Rigby has his head, like, lying next to my foot. He's very cute.
He's baby. I feel like this color doesn't like your roots as much.
Interesting.
So we'll see about that.
Always do a faded root.
I mean, I could always just add the darker color to the roots later.
Yeah.
If you wanted, like, you know, something more consistent.
I just don't want it to be blonde.
Yeah. No, if the root isn't covered, we'll cover it, but I don't think it's going to be a huge issue. This color just doesn't like it as much as the other color does.
I want Spider-Verse to already be
Out
at home.
Yeah, I want to watch it.
Like, I already saw it in theaters, and now I want to be able to watch it at home.
Yeah. I want to watch it too, and I hate movie theaters.
Also, I just feel like I was grumpy because I was at the movie theater, and there were, like, still plenty of empty seats. Like, it wasn't opening weekend anymore. It was, like, literally... It was a day that not that many people should be there. And then...
And there weren't that many people there, right?
Yeah, but someone decided to sit right next to me.
Yeah, I think that's so weird.
I was like, why? Like, there's other seats in this row even where you could have left a space.
Yeah. People are weird.
I hate when people sit next to me at the movie theaters. Weird pet peeve, but it's fine.
I think that's valid. I like having personal space. I feel like if someone, like, if there's enough space in a public setting where you don't have to sit next to me and you choose to, that makes me nervous.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
And it's also, like, it's the era of COVID. I want to, like, be able to have a drink in the theater, but, like, you're breathing right next to me, so...
Yeah.
I guess I just won't. Or
I
I'll
guess I just
slip my
won't.
straw under my mask. It was just annoying.
Will you lay out a paper towel for this pair of gloves?
I sure will.
And, like, maybe move my little juice cup so that I
can
don't
also
get
move
hurt
the
on
little
my
juice
juice
cup.
cup.
Damn. But if you haven't seen Spider-Verse, you should. It was really good. I honestly hope that... I agree. It is common courtesy to leave an empty seat between groups at the theater.
Yeah.
This smells so good.
I know, right? I love it.
Yeah, that's good smell. I feel like it's common courtesy.
Oh, fuck.
What?
I forgot to foil all those ones. I was so stupid.
But if you haven't seen Across the Spider-Verse, it was really good. I really liked it. Have good things to say about it. I hope that other animated movies start taking the lead of Sony in regards to the way in which they show animation. My other partner's an animator. That is what he has gone to school for.
I'm gonna need more foils also.
Sounds good. That's what he went to school for. And
That's
so,
what he's going back to school.
and that's what he's going to grad school for.
Yeah.
Oh no.
What?
I accidentally touched your glove.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. But I feel like a lot of animated movies have taken kind of the vibe of, we're gonna try and make this look as realistic as possible. But also not really. I'm just talking about Disney and the way in which they want to animate.
I feel like animation has just become CGI.
Yeah, and I feel like that's boring.
It is boring. I don't want to watch fucking CGI all day.
Literally so bland. But anyway.
I'm gonna definitely need more foils up there.
I'll keep going. But Spider-Verse.
But they could be smaller also.
But Spider-Verse was really good, and I feel like it showed feelings by the way in which they animated, and it added to the like experience so much.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They also chose for pretty much like multiple characters to have their own distinctive style when they were like telling their version of a story type of energy. And that was really cool.
I think that is really cool. I saw one of the animators for Hobie on Twitter today talking about like the different frame rates for different parts of his like appearance, and like how like his outline had a different frame rate from his guitar, had a different frame rate from
like, so Hobie's was
things.
Gorgeous, very like collagey, and so was Gwen's. Gwen's was really pretty. It was kind of like, it was a lot of pastels, kind of painting adjacent. It was really pretty.
I'm excited to see.
Also, Spin says, this is so fun.
Was that what you said?
Yeah.
Hi. Hello.
Tom said, it's also the only animated film, I've only seen the first, I've seen in America that was actually accurate with their diversity. True. They have clearly done a lot of research. And especially in this movie too. And I honestly think they went further in this movie with that. But that's just my opinion. At least in regards to like Latino representation.
Who's the Latino character?
Miles. Miles' mom is Puerto Rican.
I didn't know.
Miles' mom is Puerto Rican and his dad is black.
That's so cool. Were there any things that stood out to you that you were like, oh my god, like I love this aspect of the storytelling around his identity? Or
I feel like there were a couple different things. I'm trying to like carefully choose how I'm going to talk about them because I don't want to give anyone spoilers by any means.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But they used Spanish a lot more in the second movie than they did the first. There were little things. Like, there was a point where Miles' parents were talking about this girl, well, a relationship of his, and his mom was like, I bet she doesn't even speak Spanish. And that's so real.
That's so funny.
But there were just a lot of different things where, like, language, culturally, the way that their family dynamic is. I will leave it there because the biggest point for me that made it very clear is a spoiler, so I will leave it there. Once you see the movies, come to my DMs if you're curious, I guess.
That makes sense. I'm excited to see it.
Oh, I guess the other thing that I thought was, well, that's also spoilers territory. I'll wait on that. I'll tell you later because I know you don't care.
Yeah, I love spoilers.
I feel like you're the only person I know who's like, eh.
I genuinely love spoilers. Like, if I'm going to watch something, I look up the IMDb parent guide before I watch it. Because my thing is, like, I love details. I'm not going to notice every detail if I'm trying to understand the basis of the story itself. I'm not very good at, like...
I feel like you love when I've already seen something and I go through it and I'm like, oh, this is a reference to this thing. Oh, this is a reference to this thing. Like, it makes you so excited.
Exactly, because it's like, if I'm looking at something and I'm trying to get the base story from it, I'm not going to see all of the, like, little tiny synchronicities that, like, make the story compelling, because I'm trying to get the broad strokes of the plot. But, like, I love, when I get spoilers first, it's like, okay, perfect, I know what to expect, and now I can look out for details. It's why I love rewatching stuff, too.
Yeah, I love going back in something and being like, oh my god, there's so much, like, synchronicity in the way that different things, like, parallel each other.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's how I felt about rewatching the first couple episodes of The Owl House after finishing it. I was like, oh my god.
That's awesome. I love, like, the first rewatch.
Also, I didn't know the history behind Miles Morales. I've seen people on TikTok talking about this, so if I'm not right, like, feel free to correct me, or fact check me, because honestly I didn't check. I just kind of was like, that's interesting if it's true. That Miles, so this is the story that I heard, and people have debated the order of which these events happened, but
I'm gonna go rinse my hands so I can take down the next layer of your hair.
back before Andrew Garfield was Spider-Man, people were actually campaigning for Donald Glover or Childish Gambino to be Spider-Man. They wanted him to be Spider-Man. Because he was also like, cast me as Spider-Man. And it became like a giant Twitter hashtag. And it didn't happen. It ended up going to Andrew Garfield, who then campaigned for Spider-Man to be queer, which cool, but separate conversation. Because of the Childish Gambino thing, or Donald Glover campaigning to be Spider-Man, like, Miles Morales apparently was created after that. Like, indirect, like, ties to that.
What do you mean?
Like, a creator was like, oh, what if there is a black Spider-Man? And then made Miles.
Oh, really?
That's what someone online said, at least.
I thought Miles had been a character, like, for a long time.
I think they cited 2000 something. But either way.
When the Andrew Garfield movies came out, though.
That's true. And it was before the movies came out, for sure. Because it was pre-filming. But even if that part's not true, the rest of this is definitely, this part is true. There were references and other things to Donald Glover wanting to be Spider-Man. Like, there's an episode of Community where he is wearing the Spider-Man shirt in bed. And I know you've seen Community.
I have seen Community. I love Donald Glover's character.
Miles is older, like, by at least a few years. Okay, cool. Thank you. Someone had said that, and I was like, that sounds weird, but the rest of this is definitely, like, 100, like, I know that this to be true. Then, when Marvel is making its most recent Spider-Man with Tom Holland, Donald Glover's in it, not for very long, but he plays Miles' uncle in it, and he, like, references Miles in a deleted scene. He, like, plays, like, the Prowler, which, Uncle Aaron, and it was just kind of like a nod to that. And then, in the first Spider-Verse movie, Uncle Aaron has on the episode of Community in the background where he's wearing the shirt.
That's so funny.
And then Donald Glover has an appearance in the Spider-Man movie.
That's so fun.
So it's just really cool.
It is cool. Okay, I'm gonna...
Someone said, y'all are so cool, I love when you do lives. I'm pretty sure Alex is out, unless that's changed.
Thank you, Alex.
I also want to say that Donald Glover might have voiced Miles in one of the TV show versions. But yeah, very cool stuff. I've been hyper fixated on Bluey. I watch it every day.
I love Bluey so much.
The Tom Holland film stole a lot of Miles' story from the comics. Ew, that's disappointing, but honestly doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Marvel has done a lot of erasure, and, like, some of it, I understand why it happened because of the complications with, like, who owns what. Superhero comics and ownership is really complicated, specifically in regards to Marvel, because of what Universal owns, what Sony owns, what Disney owns. It's kind of been split up a lot, so I know that they don't have the rights to everything, so it's, like, kind of convoluted, but it's still really rough to lose that representation.
Yeah. I love you.
I love you too.
How you doing?
Okay.
How you feeling? Have you had a sip of your juice?
I will have a sip of my juice. I also refuse to watch another Marvel movie. I won't put myself through it.
I haven't watched a Marvel movie since so long. I was gonna say since I broke up with my ex, but it's definitely been longer than that.
I feel like I didn't watch the last Avengers movie.
What one was that?
Um,
Infinity War or something?
Was it Infinity War? Was it Infinity War or Endgame? I don't think I saw either one of them.
Oh, it was Endgame. Endgame came after.
I feel like the last one I
watched
saw was Black Panther. I feel like the last one I saw was Black Panther. And Black Panther was great. Not the second Black Panther. I haven't seen that one. And honestly, I'd consider watching it.
I would consider watching that one. I haven't seen it though. I don't. Is it even out?
Yeah, it's been out.
Ah.
They filmed it in Georgia when we lived there.
Yeah, I knew that part.
My other partner designed shirts for the crew.
Yeah.
I think
Cool
that's
guy.
super neat. Fun facts.
Fun facts.
Oh, big ant.
Oh my god.
I don't know what to do with it.
Just take the lid off the cup maybe so that he can't get into my juice. Okay. Well.
He's just moving so much.
Yeah.
Hi.
I'm just
Hi, buddy.
don't want him to like. I don't know. I guess there's not really any juice in the cup. You can just put him down.
Okay.
I'll take care of him.
Yeah, there isn't really juice in the cup, but also he was nowhere near the mouth part.
Well, he was in the beginning.
But he was more toward like the back part.
Oh, I can't really see.
He wasn't near
that
the
well.
part where your mouth would go.
That makes sense. I love you.
We quit right before Civil Wars because it was so different from the comics, and a lot of the comic fans consider it the worst one. That makes sense. I haven't read the comics.
I wasn't a really big Marvel comic reader either. I liked comics growing up, but I liked DC.
I was a comics reader, just wasn't necessarily Marvel comics. But I do kind of have an interest in getting into, like, some of the Spider-Man comics now. I just don't really know where to start. I feel like it feels very daunting.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense.
I feel like I'd love to start with that. There's a couple of different comics that I'd have interest in. I know I read part of, like, the Raven and Beast Boy comics when they came out. I'm intrigued. And then I watched the Marvel TV shows. That's the more recent Marvel content that I viewed. I watched the beginning of Loki, but I quit because of so many reasons, really.
Yeah, why would you watch Loki?
Well, I feel like the beginning led to me to believe that it could be interesting, like WandaVision in some ways, with the choices that they were making, like editing-wise. And sometimes when things are visually appealing, I keep watching them, much as, like, we've been continuing to watch Pushing Daisies.
I don't remember anything about Loki except for that there's a self-cess ship.
Yeah.
And then I was like, huh?
Rigby is sleeping now, but I'm sure he says hello to you too.
He's a little baby.
And Pixie says, our partner is a Marblehead. LOL, haha.
That's so cute.
I feel like
Marblehead.
I really loved WandaVision. I thought it was probably one of my favorite pieces of Marvel media I've consumed. But also, I'm kind of just a sucker for the story about grief and also the way in which they changed the superhero genre. I thought, like, comparing it to past media was really cool. I really enjoyed it. I know that there's a lot of issues with Wanda's characterization and the way that it strays from representation in the comics. And at the end of the day, like,
if you view it as a separate story, it's a really good story.
I did enjoy it. And then I obviously watched Moon Knight because I felt like I had to, because I knew that everyone was going to ask me about it, and I knew that if I told, like, that the people in my life who knew that I had DID were going to ask me about it, that if I ever told anyone again after that point that I had DID, that they would be like Moon Knight. So I wanted to know what I was going up against. But I haven't read the comics, and I guess I, like, am curious. I saw a clip from the comics the other day that I thought was funny.
What was it?
It was like, Spider-Man was in it, and he was like, hey, Steven, and then he replies, it's Mark, and then Spider-Man goes, oh, okay, hi, Mark, and he goes, actually, no, now it's Steven again, and he's like, hi, Steven, actually, no, it's Jake, sorry, And I was like, that's real.
That's so funny. Me when I'm rapid switching. I want you to see how pretty these gloves look right now.
They do look really pretty. But I also don't think I've ever watched DID media that I was 100% like on board with.
I'm trying to think. I feel like I went through a phase when I was first diagnosed of watching all of the DID media I could possibly find.
I've heard good things about different ones.
About different things.
But I haven't seen that many. Like, I went through the same, like, burst of watching, like, I watched a documentary, I watched a couple of different, like, fictional shows.
Did you watch United States of Tara?
I did.
Did you watch Frankie and Alice?
No.
Did you watch, what was the one with the man with OCD and the woman with DID?
I didn't see it, but you've told me about it. You told me that the DID representation was pretty decent from what you remember, but this was back when you were first diagnosed and you had bad views about DID.
Yeah, and also the OCD representation was terrible. The OCD representation literally made me want to die. I was like,
Pixie
what the
said,
fuck?
my favorite is United States of Terror, but only if you watch season 1 and pretend the rest doesn't exist.
That's so funny.
I feel like from my recollection of the United States of Terror, my main issue, there's so many actually.
The later seasons are a big part of the problem.
I watched all of it pretty much. I think I might have not seen the last season. I feel like my major issue with the first season though is that they lead you to believe that you can have DID from trauma from college. Because
but
like
they do rectify that later.
They do rectify that later, but what if you just watch the first season?
I mean, then you didn't see the whole show.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like if you're talking about a stigmatized mental health disorder, you shouldn't be spreading misinformation.
I guess so. I don't
just
really
feel like it's a
remember
bad
the show
choice.
that specifically in order
But
to
yeah.
remember.
For the entire like beginning of the show, you think that she has DID because of an issue, like a situation in college that is later proven not to be true, and there's just a lot of things. I feel like I have an issue with the lack of system accountability consistently
Oh my God.
throughout the show. It's literally insane. Pixie said, "Oh wait, yeah, in the last season she fully has a killer alter." I remember hearing about that, and that's why I stopped watching.
I watched that part. The alter literally like tries to murder every other alter in the headspace so that like he can own the body and the system.
Because that's definitely how it works.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like one of the stronger parts of the show, for me at least, I want to say it was the season finale. It was right after she finds out about, like, one of the things that, like, is actually a reason she has DID and, like, her childhood trauma.
Uh-huh.
And when she was living in, like, a foster home. And it's her sister's wedding. And her sister was always so ashamed of her and was like, oh, like, don't do anything weird. And then, like, their child alter is out. And her sister's fiance ends up leaving. And instead of getting mad at Tara, she gets mad at her parents for the first time. And is like, this is your fault type of vibe for not protecting her. And, like, for the first time, everyone stands up for her and is like, it's gonna be okay. Like, we've got this together. And, like, I love all of you and it's gonna be fine. And I feel like that part, I was like, oh, that's actually really sweet. But before that, like, the so many of the everything was rough.
Yeah, there was a lot.
I also am just tired of them having a show where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna show the headspace, but everyone's gonna look the same. Or be the same person, but dressed up different. Like, I've literally only met one system ever that has had that experience of, like, they all kind of look the same.
I feel like that's much more common in OSDD1A.
Oh, for sure. It's just, like, that was one of my big Moon Knight things, where it was just, like, that, the intense switching.
The talking to each other in reflections is always funny for me.
But also just the points where it was, like, why is Khonshu better DID representation? Like, him having DID representation better than, like, the other alters in his system. Like, why are there times where, like, you know, you don't see Khonshu, but you can hear him? And it's like, that's DID.
Exactly. There are several times when Khonshu is more of an alter than other people in the system.
Yeah, literally wild.
I feel like I'm actually not taking as long to do your hair as I expected.
I also feel like I regularly have gotten into disagreements about Moon Knight with people on the internet. Mostly because they're like, oh, well, it's not the worst representation. And I'm like, yeah, but, like...
But the bar is also on the floor for DID representation.
The bar is on the floor. 2, I think that Marvel is a major studio. Disney is a major studio. Like...
Yeah, like, you have the means to do better than this.
I mean, I don't even mean that. I just mean a lot of people are going to consume this and walk away with ideas about what it is. There's just a lot of parts of it. I also am tired of DID being treated as, like, this superpower or, like, the evil altar. And, like, Moon Knight has both. It's like, oh, we're going to have the killer. Jake's the killer altar who murders people. And then, literally, on the other hand, they're like, but also, like, we're a superhero and it's fine. And, like,
There's
when
a
we
lot of
switch, our
things.
costumes look different, which, like, what? But okay. Honestly, I wish that they would go into the very clear picture that's being painted that, like, they have clear religious trauma.
What do you mean?
Like, they literally are being abused by, like, a god.
Yeah.
Like,
that's true.
if there isn't a religious trauma parallel, like, I don't know what is. But also, I really liked that they had fictive representation. I've never seen that before. That was exciting.
That was exciting. I was really happy about that, too.
Especially that we met Steven first. And so, like, a lot of viewers who don't know anything about DID would be like, he's the real one.
Yeah.
And then, like, he ends up being effective. Like, that was so good.
That is so good. One of the DID representation things, I know you've heard me talk about this before. One of the DID representation, like, pieces of media that I've liked was Crazy Jane and Doom Patrol.
You did tell me about that.
And I feel like it really surprised me because when I had heard about the character, I was like, oh my god, like, DID superhero whose name is literally Crazy Jane, you know what I mean? Like, Here we fucking go. But I was really impressed with how they did it. I mean, the show itself, Doom Patrol, was really bad, like, laughably garbage bad. And I didn't have anyone who liked to watch laughable garbage with me at that point, so I only watched a little bit of it, because, like, it was really hard to sit through some of it. Like, DC Studios have really given up, I think, because of how good Marvel is doing. They're like, whatever, we can just make fucking anything. Like, literally the jokes, there were, like, poop jokes. Like, oh, a donkey is pooping. That's funny. It was like, what's going on? Like, who made this? As I was watching it. But, specifically the DID representation was a really strong point of it. There's an entire, like, episode that takes place within, Jane's Inner World. And you can see it. There are some alters that are just, like, the actress in different costumes. And then there are some alters that are actually played by different actors and look completely different.
That's cool.
Yeah. They all have different roles. And, like, they have different superpowers dependent on their roles when they're fronting in the body. But, like, you get to learn a little bit more about their roles. And, like, you get to learn, like, that, you know, the DID came from childhood trauma. And there's, like, a lot of symbolism about, like, what that trauma was and how, like, it formed DID and how it also formed, like, specific alters. There was, like, a lot of really nuanced, like, understanding of different things. It was kind of good. But I also only watched, like, probably the first 7 or 8 episodes, so I don't think I can speak for the whole show.
That's fair. It's funny. My mom had told me at some point, like, oh, like, maybe you could get a job, like, consulting with, like, Disney for Moon Knight. And it's, like, it's funny because, like, I'm going to study, I'm in school for publishing, and media-related stuff. And I have done work in regards to, like, talking about representation with authors. But it was so funny to me because, like, my mom was like, you could do that. And it was like, Mom, that's sweet. That's really nice. But, like, that's funny. Honestly, I just want more DID media created by people who have it. That's kind of it.
Yeah. Seriously.
I remember there are these 2 systems that were part of a writing contest, and I feel like I don't remember what happened with it. I just remember that they had to write the pilot of a show. And I don't remember if the winner had it made or, like, who even won. I just remember that they were part of it. And, like, the concept that they came up with was so cool.
Tell me about it.
So essentially, their plot concept was there's the system, and their mother just passed away, and they're like coping with like the loss of their mom, who they all have complex feelings about because systemhood. But she meanwhile they're also working. They work on some form of film set. I don't know if they're a writer or a director or just like, you know, some type of like side job, but they work on a film set, and they interject the character from the show. And I was like, that sounds so good.
That sounds so good. That sounds fun. Drama, tea.
Yeah, I felt like that'd be really interesting.
Feel like we need more system stories written by systems for sure.
Yeah. But I'm also like, I don't know. I've also been asked, like, would you ever write like something like that? Because we write. And the answer is like, no. I'm literally so scared.
Why?
Because I feel like people have their own notions of what systemhood looks like and what different things are. And I feel like if someone didn't feel represented by the story I wrote, they'd be like, it's not good representation. Or like have issues with it, not for reasons that it was bad representation, just because they didn't like, it wasn't their experience.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a risk you run creating any art.
Yeah, I just feel like it's such a thing that like not many people have done that it feels scary.
That makes sense.
It also just feels like,
Will
you know,
give me some more tinfoil, baby?
obviously systemhood is so different based on the childhood trauma that the system in question has.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very personal disorder. So I feel like if I wrote anything, parts of my personal experience would therefore inherently go into it, whether I chose that to be true or not.
Yeah.
And I don't want people speculating about my experience.
That makes sense.
Not that I've made it hard for people.
That's funny.
I mean, I don't know. Me literally posting a poem about my lived experience with certain kinds of trauma on the internet and being like...
I mean, yeah. I used to not talk about my trauma at all, and then I dropped Ephemeral Heart, so...
True.
I think... As I'm doing the top layers, I'm going to be a little bit more, like, really specific about things.
Also, I just feel like... I'm thinking... I'm so on, like, 10 steps away from where we just were, so
That's
forgive me for
fine.
that.
ADHD, go off.
But I feel like the system community over time has been so wild.
What do you mean?
Like, we were talking about it kind of in, like, the journaling group the other day about... I don't even remember why. We were just talking about how, like, things used to be so, like, different.
Yeah.
And I feel like part of it is I know I was talking to somebody the other day about, like, why people, like, have emojis with alter names. And why, like, when that became a thing and why. But in the journaling group, I don't remember why we talked about it then. But we were talking about how the online community has changed, like, so immensely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so wild to think about because obviously, like, I was on the Instagram, DID content stuff since 2018.
It was also when I started.
Yeah. Around 2018. And at the time, I was also, like, consuming DID YouTubers or DID tubers or whatever you want to call them. And then now, obviously, TikTok. Which, like, I feel like I'm less a part of that. I don't feel like I know.
I don't have a lot of DID content on TikTok.
I get a decent amount of DID TikTok, but I don't think I don't follow it in the same way that I used to follow, like,
System
DID
Instagram.
YouTubers or
Yeah.
DID Instagram. I feel like it's more personal on Instagram, and I feel like YouTube was more like, oh, like, I am intrigued about the lived experiences of others. Like, I don't know, it's just very different.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's really different too. Being in the community for as long as we have is, like, kind of wild. I feel like we've seen so much change.
Yeah. It's just also really wild because it's like people, the like type of people in the community is so different.
Yeah.
The, like, there's so many different things. The kind of content they make is so different.
It's also just kind of wild because I feel like it's had an influence on, like, the way that people in general, like, view DID, where, like, when I was first diagnosed, like, it was like I had this, like, super rare, no one had ever heard of it. I had to explain it to everyone who I talked to about it, and even after I explained it, like, a lot of people didn't understand, but also it was like this, like, you know, everyone saw this as, like, a very, like, tragic, like, terrible thing that, like, I had to live with type of energy.
Yeah.
And now I feel like people see it as, like, chronically online. They're like, oh, you have DID, okay. Like, you're this, like, chronically online, like, you're a self-diagnosed internet user energy. And it's like, I don't know when that shift happened.
I do.
It was probably, like, Trisha Paytas, right?
I would say the Anthony Padilla video.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna, like,
that era.
That's all the same
I
thing
feel like
to me.
That era and the 6 months after of, like, TikTok being a thing that everyone had on their phones was a really big part of it for sure. I don't know. That's not to say that, like, that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that the community is worse for it. I'm just saying
I don't think
it's
worse for it. It's just definitely very different. The way that, like, DID is perceived, the way that it's received when I tell people about it.
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
things.
I didn't, like, no one in... People in my life kind of knew about it. There were people in my life who knew about it because I wasn't the only person I knew with DID. Coincidentally, I'd actually met 2 systems before being diagnosed myself, but I was like, I can't be that.
I can imagine their experience.
Yeah, well, both of them were probably fragmented. So my understanding of DID was really from, like, that lens. And, like, that just wasn't, like, my experience in a lot of ways.
Sure.
So I was like, that could never be me. What do you mean? But I feel like a couple of people in my life, when I told them, or I told people because they knew what DID was, or, like, they had mentioned it to me. But, like, that was because they were getting recommended DID tubers on YouTube.
That's funny.
So that was interesting, I guess. I don't know. I feel like now the energy is just very different. And, like...
The energy in the DID community? Or the energy about
both?
DID?
I feel like it was a lot more tight-knit, maybe.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I feel like I don't know fucking anyone online anymore, at least in terms of DID.
I feel like everyone was really, like, at least the people I talked to were a lot closer to each other. I feel like there wasn't so much, like, trolls or, like, hate. Like, that wasn't normalized in any way, shape, or form.
No, I also think no one was getting as much attention.
Yeah, so it was just kind of our own little thing for a really long time.
Your hair's gonna look so cool.
It was our own thing for a really long time. And, like, I feel like the majority of the community then was older.
Yeah.
Like, I was definitely a younger person then in the community. And now I'd say, like, a decent amount of people I interact with are, like, 3 or 4 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Which is, like, wild to me.
A lot of people are younger than me, and I'm like, how are you doing it?
Yeah. Back in, like, 2016, it really just felt more genuine and peaceful. Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, that's not to say that there weren't arguments or infighting.
Oh, there were.
Because there definitely was.
And there was definitely drama.
Yeah, but, like, not in the same way that things are now. I feel like there's just, like... I don't know. I even feel like the difference in, like, the way that creators interact with people. Like, I feel like back then, it's not like anyone had a massive platform. Like, they had followers.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like everyone has, like, the significant platform. It kind of just felt like, you know, there were some degrees of parasocial relationships because, like, you've watched this person after you were diagnosed kind of energy. But, like...
But I feel like it was a lot more like the energy that I share when we go live type of thing, where it's like, you know, you feel connected to the person, you feel like you know them, you talk about mental health stuff.
Like I was in
we're
Discord
a little more
servers with people who like were making content. I was like talking to them. We like DM'd like type of vibe.
Yeah.
Like that was very much the energy then. Whereas now I feel like there is kind of more of like this inherent like separateness of like creators who are popular and everybody else.
That's true. It is interesting.
And I don't know. I just also have been on the internet too long, and don't inherently trust like people who have like I don't trust the ways in which people fawn over people with larger platforms. Like, I don't know. I've been in the DID community too long and have seen too much to, like, idolize anybody.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
Like, I don't know. At the end of the day, like, we're all just flawed trauma survivors doing our best.
I mean, most of us are doing our best.
Yeah, that's true.
Some of us are not even doing our best.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
You know who I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
You know who the fuck I'm thinking of. It's just rough. It's like sometimes you just see people who are willing to take advantage of a vulnerable community.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why, like, I don't know. I don't have the same... I think that's also why I don't have the same, like, level of closeness in the DID community, because at the same time as all that stuff was, like, system drama. Where, like, you know, I didn't want to be interacting with, like, people on system, like, Instagram or, like, online in system spaces. There was a long time where I didn't.
Pixie, tell me what cosplay you're making. I love cosplay.
Cosplay!
And Pixie said, as someone who was only diagnosed in 2021, this combo is mega interesting. Oh my gosh, yeah. I feel like there's so much that I could talk about like, the history of the DID community. And honestly, I know Tomb System knows more than me because I know they've been in the DID community since, like, 2016, 2017. But I feel like, yeah... There was a lot of a mess.
Okay, I'm just gonna not use these gloves yet.
There was a lot of a mess, and I was like tangentially to the side of it, watching a lot of it play out from a really interesting position because of a lot of circumstances.
It was fucking crazy.
I feel like even just like having the job that I had, made my life very interesting for a little bit. It was stressful though.
I'm like, should I just put the rest of your hair down and just kind of...
Pixie said it's sort of a secret, but it's from my favorite anime ever called Precure.
Oh, awesome.
I know what Precure is, but mostly because we have a system friend, Pin System, and they really like Precure. But I don't really know much about it.
I've only ever seen Pixie's tweets about it. That's my full extent of knowledge.
Someone in their system, I think it's Melanie, really likes Cure. I don't know their names. I feel like maybe it's Cure Earth or something like that.
I'm just gonna put all your...
They also just texted me. That's funny.
That's funny. Was that like... Yeah, that was a realistic hair pick.
I genuinely kind of feel jealous of people who don't know about DD and TP. It's wild to me that there's more people who don't know than do at this point. Yeah.
I know!
Literally that.
Literally, we were talking about it the other day.
That was a very... Don't get me started, LOL, I will info dump. You are so welcome to info dump to me anytime.
Yeah, I love info dumping too.
I'm sure Kiva would also be fine with you going to DMs and messaging so much about Precure.
I love info dumps. When people info dump at me, it literally makes my day.
Yeah,
So, okay, so I want you to have some level of, like, choice in this next part just because...
It's near the front of my face.
It's going to be, like, what you're looking at. Since this part of your hair is the darkest, I don't want to put the lightest color on it.
That's fine.
But also, since you lightened it and you used to have it black, I don't really want to put the darkest color on it.
That's fine.
You're fine with, like, the mid-tone there?
Yeah, that's fine.
And then you're fine with me just spacing out highlights the rest of the way through.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
I feel like it's really wild, and you're gonna laugh, and I don't know if people here are gonna have opinions about this, but it kind of reminds me a lot of, like, the Melanie Martinez stuff.
What?
Like, the way that the system community is, like, there's this person that has done problematic things.
Oh, and, like, everyone has just forgotten because of the internet.
Yeah.
Like, the internet has no memory whatsoever. It's crazy. It's crazy, because, like, how literally is someone going to do all of that, and you're going to be like, oh, what?
Like, do all that and not be sorry, not apologize, or if they do apologize, not actually apologize. There's so many things.
And I feel like Melanie is even worse.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Obviously. I just felt like that was, like, the example that would make you laugh, because I know that's been your biggest ick lately.
Oh my god. Literally, I want to put, like, a Melanie DNI fucking sticker on so that people will just stop. Because also people always assume that I will like her.
Yeah.
Which, like, is fair, you know? Like, I understand why you get that idea. But also, like, don't send me art made by literally, like, freaking Predator.
Pinsystem finally got YouTube to load. We were just talking about you in regards to pre-care. Hi.
We were talking about you. Hello.
Pixie said Melanie makes me scream, literally, LOL. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I just don't understand how people continue to platform, like, people who continue to do things that are problematic. The amount of problematic white systems that are still relevant in regards to, like, the system community is genuinely very upsetting to me and doesn't surprise me at all.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Just people who are, like, I have a black altar type of energy.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a lot of things.
People just don't fucking...
The funny thing
before they
is, you
speak.
can guess who I'm talking about, but honestly, I'm talking about more than one person. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
That's
yeah.
actually the sad part.
Yeah.
Like, you would hope that that wouldn't be the case.
Yeah, you would hope, wouldn't you?
Oh, but it is.
Someone said, wait, what did Melanie do? I don't listen to her, but I thought they were cool.
Melanie Martinez is a rapist.
Yeah, that's true.
Raped one of her best friends. I mean, not that they're best friends anymore, but...
Yeah. And
her name is Timothy Heller. And Melanie also, after the allegations came out, Melanie never said that Timothy was, like, lying or that the events hadn't happened or that the night was not, that like, the way that Timothy said. What Melanie said was she never said no. And then she dropped a diss track about Timothy called Piggyback Ride, where she claims that Timothy only talked publicly about the assault in order to piggyback off of Melanie's fame.
Yeah, I think there's also fabricated screenshots of Timothy, like, taking it back.
Yeah, which Melanie's fans have made.
But the additional thing is, even if she did take it back, like, she was getting a lot of hate for speaking up about her experience from Melanie fans, so.
She literally was bullied off the internet several times, and also, like, I'm pretty sure doxxed.
Yeah.
Or not doxxed, but not doxxed. Something similar of, like, threatened safety somehow.
I mean, literally anytime you've posted about it on the internet, Melanie fans have come into your DMs being like, you don't know our side of the story.
Literally, people will come to me and be like, you don't understand. And it's like, okay, I'm so glad you're standing up for this famous person who will never like you, instead of listening to the lived experience of a trauma survivor. And that's the thing, too, right? Like, because these people will all be the first to be like, oh, believe victims, believe victims. But, like, it's different. Why? Because you like her music?
Because she's a woman?
Because you like her music and she's a woman and you don't see her as threatening?
Tomb System said, I love to suggest Nicole Dollinger. I so pronounced that wrong.
Dollinger! She's my favorite recommendation to people who are ex-Melanie stans. Nicole Dollinger slaps so hard.
Strawberry System said, in quotations, our side, mind blown.
No, literally, the way that I had to block someone because they came into my DMs being like, on Melanie's side, but also talking as though they knew Melanie. They're like, you don't understand what we went through. I was like, I really don't. I still don't.
I thought that was so just wild.
Yeah.
The parasocial.
They literally did call it our side of the story.
Yeah. I don't know. It's wild because I get that, like, new fans and also, like, old fans who didn't really care or conveniently forgot, like, don't talk about it. So, like, how would new fans know?
But also, every time I've talked about it, people are like, so aggressive in my direction.
They speak for their god, Melanie Element.
Oh my god. Like, I just can't imagine having such a parasocial relationship with a famous person that I found out that they had, like, literally harmed someone else, and I'm like, but I understand. But I understand what really happened, and I love them, and I know.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of delusion is that?
Yeah. Literally. I feel like it always hurts my feelings when I'm scrolling, like, TikTok and I'll get a DID video and someone in the comments is like, I want to learn more about DID, and they're like, oh, here's the people who make YouTube videos about it that I recommend, and I'm always like, no.
Yeah. Brutal. That's so true.
Honestly, now, I've seen people recommending Pixie, and that makes me feel a little bit better about the world.
That makes me so happy.
Because I'm like, yeah, true.
You should watch Pixie's videos.
I'm pretty sure that we literally said that the last time we were on live.
Yeah, we did.
We talked about it because someone was asking about the McLean stuff.
Yeah. Which is true. McLean did fuck Pixie over it, and you should watch their video about it. And also, there was some stuff, I don't know if you saw, about the ISSTD.
Yeah, I don't remember the information about it, but I remember that a lot of people were upset about it.
Yeah.
I remember that there was a conference. I remember that...
Well, I think it was because of there's, like, a particular system who, like, had, I don't know, I don't know the full story, so, like, I'm not, like, you know, completely confident about the details. I'm just gonna give, like, the general basis of what I think I know. Is that they were at the, like, original conference, maybe, where the McLean, like, speech thing, whatever happened.
Well, that was an ISTD thing, too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They were at that conference, the ISSTD conference. And I think they had tried to speak to, like, the president or something about it, being like, hey, this isn't cool.
Yeah.
And they have, at first they were, like, maybe working with ISSTD type of energy.
I know there's a system who's tweeting about it on Twitter that is also a professional, like, is some form of psychologist, researcher type vibe, who was talking about it. I don't know if it was them that you're talking about, though.
It might have been. I don't really know.
Pixie said yes, Katie Keach.
Yeah!
In regards to what you're talking about. Continue, though. I'm listening.
I don't remember what I was saying.
You were saying that they were working with her.
Yeah, that's what I at least understood. I was, like, reading the tweets, but also the person even said in their tweets, like, I'm sorry, I'm exhausted, I'm not making the most sense type of energy. So, like, I didn't really get the full story from the tweets. But essentially, I think they were working with the ISSTD for some duration of time. And then they were,
They have experienced major unethical treatment from folks at the ISSTD when they were a member. It's really horrible.
Yeah, they were like, they just went through a lot of things. I don't even really remember all the specific details. I remember reading the thread and feeling a little bit confused because I didn't really, like, know what they were talking about to the full extent. But a lot of the things that the president of the ISSTD chose to do and the ways that they chose to respond to things were, like, heinous and obscene.
Well, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Right after the McLean thing came up and everyone was looking at them for a response, they posted, like, some half-assed, like, research article that was kind of, like, against the McLean thing, but wasn't also them taking a stand in any way, shape, or form.
I don't remember that.
Basically, the ISSTD shuts down and demeans anyone who actually has DID or OSDD. Yeah, that sounds right. I don't know. I feel like it's so hard because, like, obviously therapy is so important in regards to, like, any mental health condition, especially DID, but it's also, like, it's so easy to not trust professionals now. And, like, that feels horrible, but it's true.
Oh my god, it is true.
Like, I don't know. I am so aware of the way that professionals who, like, the professionals who even believe that DID is a thing, because, like, there's plenty of people who clearly don't.
Yeah.
But, like, how their perception is very based in, like, white, cisgender, like, well-off women.
And also, like...
And actively doesn't include people who are autistic, people who are not white, people who, you know, they're just... It's very limited in what they've studied, and that feels frustrating.
Yeah, and you can also tell by the way that professionals treat DID, because really, like, when you go into a professional setting with DID, like, it is sat and assumed that, like, you are, like, you know, I can speak from the experience of, like, I am a person who presents as looking like a little white girl. And, like, it very much is a, like, oh, this is a little white girl disorder for, like, when you were sexually assaulted in your childhood.
Yeah.
Like, that's how they treat it. It's like, oh, something bad happened to you when you were little, and now you're super emotional about it. And, like, it's so infantilizing in a lot of ways. It's so, like, obviously erasing of people who have different experiences, like, of any kind, of disability, of race, of what trauma they endured in childhood.
Pixie added, the McLean presentation was originally presented as a paid private conference in October. They are both responsible for the presentation. You don't have to be sorry for this spam at all. And Tome said, a good friend of ours has been so ignored and thrown away, basically not given proper care as a DID system in the UK because of the ISSTD. Yeah, I don't know. Like, the McLean stuff felt a little personal, just because, like, we live in Massachusetts. McLean, like, is a hospital here.
And, like, we've both tried to go there.
We both tried to go there. Fun fact. But I was told pre-moving here by other people that, like, I would have such good DID care when I moved here compared to the South, which isn't true. Like, I had better DID care in the South, and that's kind of terrible, actually.
It's insane.
My treatment has been better literally anywhere but here. My psychiatrist is fine. I like him. He's pretty good compared to psychiatrists I've had other places.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, it's literally been so mid in every way. Every time that we both were inpatient while living here. And the staff knew nothing about DID. We did not end up at McLean, but almost could have, maybe. And literally, I was supposed to then be in, like, the outpatient McLean thing, and they put me in another one, and they discharged me because they said if I switched, that I had to leave.
So true.
I was literally like, please put me in an outpatient program. I need help. And they were like, okay, this one's really good with trauma. And then I was like, oh, okay, cool. I have DID. And they're like, but you can't talk about DID in group. And if you switch in group, you need to leave.
But also, if you miss too many sessions, you'll be kicked out of the program.
Yeah. Literally wild.
Literally wild.
Yeah. So it's like, then, like, the McLean thing came out. I got an email from them after the fact being like,
do you want to be in our...
You want to come to our program? And I literally laughed and, like, screenshotted the email and was like, no.
Yeah. It's also just funny because it was from Matt Robinson.
Yeah. It was really funny.
I left him a personal voicemail.
And I
also emailed him and his superior.
Well, you also were literally going through a study at McLean.
Yeah,
at the same time.
I was participating in a study at McLean. And it was trauma. It was a trauma-based study, and obviously they knew I had DID. And in the voicemail and in the email to the superiors, I was like, if this is the way you see DID, I am not comfortable participating in this study anymore.
They paid you still.
I mean, yeah, but I didn't finish the study.
Yeah, that I know.
I didn't do the second half because they were freaking ableist. And I was scared to go to the hospital in person after that because I had like, virtual appointments before that. And then the video came out, and, like, I was supposed to have my next appointment was supposed to be in the hospital. I was like, no way. I'm not going there. Fuck you guys.
I'm also amazed he still has his license, but also I guess in a lot of ways I'm not, because I've heard so many therapist horror stories and breaching of HIPAA and, like, breaking the law that, like, nothing happened.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's upsetting. It's just...
It's hard to be surprised by upsetting things when, like...
That just is kind of the commonplace.
Expecting.
Yeah. It's also just funny because, like, System added about how when they live in Oregon and there's, like, good healthcare, mental health care there supposedly, but also they wouldn't treat anyone who wasn't the host or, like, the main person.
Yeah.
And it's, like, this energy of the U.S. where they think, like, yes, like, this is a state with good healthcare. And it's like, no, this is still mediocre. This is still bad.
Not only that, but also, like, there's no such thing as a state with good healthcare because it's so dependent on so many things. Like, you can have a state that has good public-funded healthcare, but they might have, like, really terrible private healthcare. They might have really great public healthcare in terms of what, like, procedures you can get paid for, but then the doctors that work in those offices are terrible. Like, there's so many, factors that it depends on.
Pixie said, I have the info to report him to his board. I just need to sit down and do it, but so emotionally destroying to go through the events again.
Oh my god, I can't even imagine. That makes a lot of sense. I feel like it's hard, like, obviously, just having to re-experience all the things that he said and, like, all the ways that that's had impact. Like, I feel like almost that shouldn't have to be your job.
Yeah.
Like, I know that someone has to report him type of energy, but it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like anytime anyone's asked about the situation at this point, I've just been like, watch Pixie's video, because it says anything that, like, everything that I could ever even dream about saying. Like, it covers everything.
And also, like, I don't know. It's just so different. Like, I don't know. I can't fucking imagine. Like, being...
Him purposefully spreading misinformation when he has the access to watch additional content of the people he's talking about.
Right. Like, he literally is choosing to, like, misinterpret and misconstrue information.
Yeah.
And it's like, why?
He also just reminds me of, like, the older generation of people in my life in, like, the worst way of the, like, why would you be happy about a diagnosis? Like, why this, why that? And it's like, you really don't understand, like, your patients or anything.
Right.
It's
like, you're not even attempting to empathize.
It is so hard to live with the symptoms of something without understanding what it is. It is so hard. It's so scary.
And it's so upsetting because you can't explain it to anyone. No one understands you.
It's just really frustrating because it's not that you're excited to, like, have something going on with you, but something has been going on with you your entire life, and you now finally have the understanding of your own lived experience.
Right, and you can assign language to it. You can find community. Like, you can seek access to resources and support.
And, like, that's such a relief.
It is. I literally remember, like, when I got... The first real, like, time that it super, super hit me was when I got diagnosed with PTSD when I was 13.
Annoying people are spamming the chat. I don't know if I can block them though.
Huh. I can't see. Well, I don't know if you can block them either.
I mean, it wouldn't do anything. I just wouldn't see their comments. So sorry.
Oh, because you're not, like, a moderator. Yeah. That makes sense. Can you set up moderators on
that? I don't know. Let me see if I can get closer and block them. 1 second. Hi, everyone. Remove. Oh, it only removed that message. Wait, I'm going to type in the chat on my YouTube so I can make myself a moderator. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Add as moderator.
You're slaying.
Cool. Okay. Steps.
Thanks, baby.
Put user in a timeout. I don't know how long it does that.
You're grounded.
But you're grounded. I don't know if I just block things if you guys will still be able to see them. Like, if it'll just remove it for me.
We use the back a little.
Oh, oops. I actually meant to time out him. Yeah. Cool. They're all in timeout. But can I
Who are
block them
they?
for good?
Just like troll
Yeah.
type.
They are troll types. Will it let me remove? Can I remove you too? Remove. And you?
I feel like I'm finger painting.
I think I did it. If they start talking again, I'll remove them for real.
Slay. You're slaying. Will you rip one of the pieces of tinfoil in like half or a third?
Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, lack of isolation of lack of knowledge is really difficult. Not understanding what's going on with you is really difficult. And like, I'm sorry, but no professional will ever know what it's like. Like, if you don't have the diagnosis yourself, you don't know what it's like. No amount of reading will ever make you know what it's like.
That was one of like my most hot takes on TikTok that people got so mad at me for. I was like, if you are a doctor, you are not an expert on that thing. More than the
I'm sure
person
that
who
is-
lives with that thing is. That made people so mad.
Well, yeah. That doesn't surprise me either.
I mean, it
But
did
it's true.
surprise me that it made people mad, but I still said it because it was still true.
True.
And then I'm going to do your little top section. We can probably let it sit for a long time.
Just hang out here for a while. Sick of the community saying that professionals are the expert. Yeah. Honestly, it's hard because it's like, yes, like there's definitely things that like someone outside of yourself can bring to the table.
Oh, for
There's definitely
sure.
things that professionals can do that are helpful.
I think having an outside witness to your experience is always helpful. I think there are so many things that professionals can offer. It's just that like they're never going to know more about it than someone who actually is going to be able to like understand and live through that experience. Will you tear me another little
I will.
baby tin?
Here you go. We do know the colors. It's amethyst and
Magic Shadow.
magic shadow lunar tides. If you want to Google that, it's those.
But I'm also mixing a third shade.
A third
In.
shade.
There's a third shade. It's
Them
just a mix
together?
of the two shades.
Yeah. I was like, what? And I was like, oh.
I just really have been doing my own thing.
But yes, we both have DID.
Yeah.
The purple and blue that you guessed was correct. You're the only person who guessed correctly.
Iconic of you, honestly. I feel like if anyone else in our system chose the colors, it wouldn't have been purple and blue.
Yeah.
This is a very Sylvie-coded choice.
I mean, we were so down with any of you picking. Sylvie was just the one who was out to pick.
Sylvie was just there. It was also during the era of Sylvie always being here, so.
That's true. Sylvie was going through host arc for a second.
Yeah. Do we have a host arc right now? No, we have identity confusion arc right now.
I feel like Arietti's been here a lot.
Smidge has been here a lot.
Yeah, Smidge and Arietti both have been around a lot.
I feel like, Koa has also been around a lot.
That's true.
Some of these pieces are getting super blendy, but like I think it's actually gonna look really cool. I'm excited.
Nice.
I'm excited. I'm so excited to see it.
Consistem said the way I'd let y'all dye our hair whatever color too.
Oh my god, that would be so fun!
Honestly, next time you come to Florida,
we'll be there.
we'll be there and you can do it.
I would love to dye your hair. That would be so fun.
I've been co-con with Sunny so much recently, I literally thought she fused. said Pixie.
Oh my god. I feel like I get in that headspace all the time where I'm like, is this person just around her? Like, are they me?
And then added Sunny split because of the McLean thing.
Oh, poor baby. Sending so much love.
I so relate, though, to the, like, am I just blended, like, super often, and are we just co-con together all of the time, or, like, are we now one person?
Right. That happens to us a lot, too.
We also, like, with, like, OCD stuff, we'll get, like, obsessive thoughts about, like, who am I, what is my identity type of energy.
Yeah.
And that's super overwhelming.
And sometimes I'll get intrusive thoughts, too, of, like, you know, like, especially because, like, you know, I have a relationship OCD or different things, and, like, I'll get obsessive thoughts of, like, what if I fused with an adult and I became an adult and then I couldn't date my partners? Or, like, different things like that. Like, what if I did this? What if this system change happened? And then I'll just sit there and obsess and obsess and obsess over it.
Yeah, literally, like, the way that we'll have that, but it'll be more of, like, oh, what if this person that, like, a bunch of people, like, in our system that a lot of people, like, goes dormant or fused and is, like, inherently different now, and now, like, it will crush so many people.
Yeah.
And
it
it's,
happens
like,
to us.
it's okay. You can take a breath. It's always been fine.
Literally.
Like, we've been through so many fusions, and it's fine.
It always feels like, I don't know.
Pin System said okay but to dyeing their hair.
Yeah! Oh my god, I'm so excited. That would be so fun. I feel like I'm just the little hair dye guy, huh?
Dante said, we have such dark hair, I'm so scared to bleach it, it's so long as well. Some colors, if you choose something dark enough, like, will still kind of give it a color. My natural hair is kind of on the black side. And the first, like, full head of color I ever did was, like, a navy blue, and it was really pretty in the sun. It wasn't the most noticeable inside, but it was still, like, a fun choice.
Yeah, I think actually having, like, a color layered over a really, really dark, like, one of my favorites is, like cherry coke kind of, like, red tint, reddy purple tint in the light, or things like that. Like, that looks so cool. Green on black.
True.
Oh my god, stunning.
Strawberry System said, I've been front stuck almost 24/7 since March. We're going through it.
Oh god.
Literally.
Sending so much love. That sounds so hard.
Yeah,
Braver
honestly,
than the U.S. Marines for that.
If any of us are front stuck for longer than, like, honestly, like, a few days, we're like, this is the worst thing that has ever happened to
Yeah,
me.
literally. When I was front stuck for, like, 5 days, it was, like, a month ago now. I was literally like, I'm gonna die before someone else fronts.
Especially with, like, autism and the struggle of, like, sensory things and not having a break and just, like, experiencing being alive all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how am I supposed to cope with all that? Okay.
Pixie said, yep, all I know is that I'm 14. Yeah, relatable.
Yeah.
That's it. Pin System said, should be back in Florida in August if things continue here the way they have. I'm sorry. I know that that's not the vibe that we want for you in any way, shape, or form. And I wish you could stay in Canada. But I know that if you do end up moving to Florida, that we will definitely make time to hang out with you and your partner. I don't want to say their name on live because I know that they're kind of private about being online. But we'll hang out the group of us and, like, we'll have a good time.
Slay. I feel like obviously I don't want you to have to move, but also if you do, it's kind of ideal that we're going to be in Florida at the same time.
Yeah, we're gonna hang out together. It's gonna be great. Dante said, honestly, any and all system change is scary. I feel like
that's true to an extent too.
True to an extent, for sure. I feel like the longer that we have lived with the DID diagnosis, the less true it's become. Like, there's certain things that are still scary. Like, you know, there's people in our system that haven't ever fused. So we're like, oh my god, if they changed, like, that would be devastating. Or this energy of, like, we, in our household, jokingly call, like, the concept of fusing, like, something, like, eating.
Yeah.
And there are people who are, like, eaters. And eaters are like system mates who will fuse with someone else, but they'll still mostly be, like, the original person that the
like
eater was.
They, like, align most with themselves still because they ate.
Yeah. Instead of, like,
person.
Was eaten. Like, I think there's a certain amount of, like, eating, eaten, or, like, perfect mix of, like, both melded. And I feel like it's all very different. Pin System said, experience of being alive, too much. True. And they also said that they call it absorbing. You're valid for that.
Will you look up a little bit more with your head? Thank you.
They said, yes, absolutely. So many hugs and time spent with pals. Yeah, you are so... Yes, come see us.
You are so yes. You are so slay.
Strawberry System said, LOL, the U.S. Marines, it's been hard. I appreciate the love.
It sounds hard. I feel like being front stuck for that long is exhausting. I hope you've been taking a lot of good care of yourself.
Yeah.
Sending love to the rest of your system for when they come back.
I feel like it's hard too. Like, it's hard if you're the only person who's been fronting and like you haven't had company, but it's also hard if you've just like not been able to leave. Like, even if you're like, you're just co-con and other people are
and
there.
other
And
people
it's
are
like,
there and you're just like, okay, well, I'm just still experiencing this. That's the worst, actually. Especially when, like, oh my gosh, it used to happen to me when I would get front stuff where, like, people would be like, oh, they're gone.
And
I was
unlog
still
you.
right there. And I was like, must be nice for you to not have to think about me, but I have to watch all this shit you're doing right now.
Yeah.
I bet you think about me.
Also, I just want to take a poll because we were talking about this the other day and I think it's really interesting. Who in the chat who has like DID or OSTD has a fronting room or something like equivalent?
Oh, yeah.
Because neither one of us do.
But I feel like so many people do.
Yeah.
And I also want to know what it looks like if you do.
Tell me about your fronting room if you have one.
I'm still never going to get over the movie theater. I think that's sick as hell.
They knew someone who had a movie theater type of scenario with a front room where people could just go and watch like it was a movie.
Yeah, they would have like a fronting room, which was like the main space where you would go to the front. And then they had a co-con room, which was attached to the fronting room. And it was literally just whatever was happening in front played out as a movie on a screen so that they could watch. And like they could watch it together.
Tell me what your fronting room looks like. I want to know what all of your fronting rooms, like those of you who have it, well, what does it look like?
Yeah, like how does it work? When do you go there? Like do you choose to go there?
I feel like we don't have a fronting room. A big reason being that like we are very like divided in terms of like places in the inner world. But additionally, I feel like I don't know. Like it's funny because when I used to give you guys guided meditation to try and like ground and get somebody else, like
you would go based on where they lived in the inner world.
Yeah. I would give you like, remember like this is what the inner world looks like and here's like think about what this feels like and what this smells like and like the touch of it.
Right.
Imagine being there and
like maybe this person is there, maybe this thing is happening.
Or like, you know, imagine going back toward that as like so and so is going forward. But there was never like a fronting room scenario.
Oh, never.
Pixie says, we have a different headspace we see during the day that's different than our actual inner world though. Tell me more, I'm intrigued. Strawberry System said, true, I'm trying, I've had some lows, but it makes sense why I'm still here and I know a lot more about myself at least. That's good.
That is good.
Pin System says, we call it the void, LOL, it's separated by a door where our gatekeeper stands outside of it. Ghibli System says, mine is a gray space and at like the front of the room there's a bright light like white light. And you can also kind of will things into existence in there.
I love hearing about different system stuff.
Bubblegum said, we don't necessarily have a room, but our maladaptive daydreaming world functions as that. When someone fronts, they're more visible in that world. It's like a big concrete building in a field. There's a speaker system. Someone else, back to Pin System. There's a speaker system that if we need someone at the front, we can call for them with relative success. Do you have to have an inner world or amnesia to have DID? So you don't need to have an inner world. A lot of people build their inner world with their therapist in therapy. Do you need amnesia to have DID? Amnesia is one of the criteria for DID in the DSM. OSDD is a lessened amnesia. There aren't really clear definitions as to what amnesia looks like in the DSM. There's different kinds of amnesia, even if it's not blackout, where like you'll wake up somewhere you don't remember where you are. There's certain amounts of like you don't remember certain details, you only remember some things, or emotional amnesia, which is really prevalent among OSDD systems who don't have as much other kinds of amnesia. Strawberry System said, there feels like a physical space when more than one altar is fronting at once. Pixie said it's kind of more like a nebulous void, yeah, that picks up different colors and they shift around depending on who's near. But our inner world is literally grass and sky and buildings and weather and stuff. That's cool.
That is really cool.
Someone else said, also at the front you have to walk into the light, and if you're a Kokon, then you'll both sit on a couch. Pixie said, I love hearing about other people's inner experiences.
Me too. I feel like the diversity of DID is one of the most interesting things about the disorder to me, because it's all so personal. It's all so like, this is what would fit for you, for your mind, for your childhood, for your experience. And I feel like a lot of, like, you know, illnesses or conditions or like other things that you can struggle with, like, it's not really that, like, you know, personal.
Yeah.
It's a lot more like shared experience.
You're welcome, Kiara. I feel like the secondary question that I have is like, I don't know how to phrase this.
Can I scoot you this way?
Yeah, please do.
Thanks.
I don't know exactly how to phrase this, so like be patient with me, I guess. But like, do you experience like your inner world has constant things happening behind you all of the time? Do you only experience inner world things like kind of like as a memory when you front, or a mix of the like a mix of somewhere in between?
Or like, do different alters have different amounts of inner world experience also?
Yeah. Pin System said our fronting experience is like having you and your siblings trying to play on the same computer and looking through a screen. That's funny. I like that.
That's so sweet. I love that description. It's like, it's my turn. Move over.
Yeah, because I feel like our inner world experiences change really regularly. Sometimes there's like this amount of like a lot of like interactivity vibes.
Mm-hmm.
There's been times in our life where it's more active than others. When we were first being diagnosed with DID, like that experience, there was a lot of inner communication a lot of the time. Yeah. It was kind of like this near constant like commentary and intrusion, or like sounds and things like from back. But I feel like there's then been times where it's like, oh, like I don't remember like any inner experiences. Like I don't remember like not being here, but I also like I kind of like remember bits and pieces of being here, but not really. Like I wasn't the one to do it. It's just like a very it fluctuates so much, and like that's wild. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know, for us it fluctuates a lot too.
Like, I don't know. I don't feel like there's constantly, like, people... You say this all the time, too. I don't feel like there's constantly, like, others in the system sitting back, like, being lonely inside, or, like, not spending time with people, or even, like, inherently spending time with people.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think the way that our personal inner world experiences works for our system is that we only really tend to have inner world experiences when we need to understand or process something, or like when we're like, you know, going through an emotional or like trauma related, like flashback related, or some other type of like processing feelings, whatever. And usually what'll happen is it'll be like an isolated memory. It'll be like, oh, I have this one internal experience. And it'll almost feel like a dream a lot of the time. Where it's like, I can see very visually what's happening. I can remember what's happening. I know that it didn't take place like here. Because obviously it was in the inner world. But also like, it kind of just is a self-encapsulated experience. And it doesn't really go on much longer than that. It's not like, oh, this is what I did today in the inner world. It's like, oh, I had this moment of like, you know, understanding myself or processing something or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we're not in the inner world the rest of the time. But there are also some times where like, you know, we'll only have inner world experiences within those like short-term visualizations. But there are times when we'll be having like literally like narcoleptic episodes, falling asleep without meaning to, because our brain is trying to process something, and it'll give those like inner world intrusions as dreams.
That's true. So many things happened in the chat, but I'll give you a sum up.
Okay. Sorry. I'm a little babbler.
No, it's fine. People are just very interested in this topic.
Yeah. I love it.
Pixie said, no, it's not all the time in the background for us. We can usually only access the inner worlds when we're alone, so I check in at the end of every day. And different alters have different inner world experiences, memories for us, but they're not active at all hours. That'd be impossible and exhausting.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
I
I know some people have like really vivid inner worlds.
Someone else, Ghibli System said, it depends on who you talk to. Our partner tells me about things I don't know, only if she's allowed to tell me. And also agreed with popping in at the end of every day. And that it feels like a strange dream for them, like time, space, and it doesn't necessarily always make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And Strawberry System said, our inner world is very active at all times. We now know we're polyfragmented, so I can't even speak for my whole system. But I think there's always things going on internally.
That makes sense. I think there's a lot about polyfragmentation that makes that interesting. When our system was trying to function at the biggest that we knew of, we had internal experiences like kind of all of the time. Like there was someone going through something all the time. But we also were not very mentally present in our day because of that. There was a lot of like, we were very much living in our own head trying to understand things. Like,
that's true.
There was too much communication going on to where we couldn't be functional in like normal settings. So it was not really like an adaptive coping skill for us to have that much going on internally.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like sometimes it kind of feels like little snippets like might be shared. Like every once in a while I'll have this thought of like, oh, like this is something that's going on inside right now. And then I'll be like, oh, huh.
Yeah. That's true.
But I don't feel like time works the same way.
Oh, definitely not.
It
doesn't need to.
I honestly don't even know if we have a nighttime.
We have daytime and nighttime locations, and then we have locations where it is daytime sometimes and nighttime sometimes.
I mean...
Isn't that crazy?
I would say, I guess we do have a nighttime. But, like, I don't think it's a long nighttime. I think it's mostly just sunny all of the time.
Weird.
Yeah.
We have different weather patterns.
At least where I am. Like, it's sunny and breezy.
Weird. Yeah, no, the night woods are always night. There are parts that are always day. And then there are, like, most of the inner world has a daytime and a nighttime. Weather
things have happened, like, alongside things that are happening in real life. Like, I remember there was a time where, like, things were really... I feel like it was right after we left Orlando for Georgia, and we were, like, kind of roughing it.
Mm-hmm.
It just, like, rained every day for, like, 2 weeks.
That makes sense. I don't really know what to attribute our weather patterns to.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
We're doing purple and blue. But yeah, time is so strange inside.
Yeah. Wacky.
I know that right now, since we've had a lot of, like, system change alongside with, like, our brain trying to prepare for moving across the country, like, again.
Slay us.
Yeah, there's just been a lot of, like, confusion about who...
Sorry, I'll get it out of your face.
No, you're fine. About who's in our system and, like, what is going on. So we've had, like, no inner world experience, really.
Uh-huh.
In a hot second.
Us too. We've been really struggling to have internal experiences.
Moving with DID is so difficult. No one talks about it. I've never seen a post about it. And I've wanted to make one, but I feel like every time I've wanted to make one, it's because I've been going through it.
Yeah.
And then I, like, don't have the right words for it because I feel so emotional about it. But then afterward, I...
dissociate away from it?
Yeah.
It was so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess... I feel like it's hard because a lot of systems moved a lot as children, and, like, moving a lot as a child is traumatic in itself. Or can be, at least. And, like, we didn't move cities or anything, but we moved, like, an unrealistic, like, amount of times in our childhood.
Uh-huh.
In the same city, like, a bunch of times. So we never really had a place that was, like, home. And additionally, like, our parents were divorced, so we went back and forth from house to house and had, like, a schedule that is now regarded by, like, professionals as a schedule that you should not have for your divorced children and, like, your parenting agreement.
What was the schedule?
So we would have Monday, Tuesday
Sorry,
with one... No, you're fine.
Personal.
Monday, Tuesday with one parent, Wednesday, Thursday with the other, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday with the first one, and then, like, switched
Yeah, that makes sense.
But, like, we were never in one place long enough for our brain to, like, settle.
That was how I was, too.
And that's why, like, professionals don't recommend it. Because it's difficult for a child to, like...
You can't, like, regulate to your environment.
Yes. And our parents, like, were very, very different, which is why they divorced, amongst many other reasons. But, like, they were so different and had different rules, and, like, the houses were just really different, so different people in our system would be at different houses. But yeah, we moved a lot as a kid. So we never had a place that was home. And obviously, being a child who is going through some stuff, it is hard to feel like there's home anywhere. So when we moved to college, I feel like that was less hard. Because it was like, oh, like, we're leaving here and going somewhere that will be better.
And I think that was the first time you lived with Guy Shape, right?
Yeah, that is the first time we lived with our long-term partner.
Yeah.
So that was super nice.
So that's, like, makes it really different.
He was the closest thing that we felt like we had to a home.
Yeah.
So that felt good. And, like, then we moved in college pretty much every year. And it's hard because you get used to your surroundings. And you start to, like, regulate in that.
Develop routine.
And then you move and you don't have your routine and things look different. Generally the first, like, few days of living somewhere, we have really, really bad sleep. We hate sleeping in hotels. We hate sleeping at people's house for that exact reason.
We hate sleeping new places, too.
It, like, is so difficult. I so promise that I will get to the chat in a second. I'm just rambling about moving.
You're allowed to ramble.
But yeah, it's difficult because everything changes. And especially when you are moving states, like, even Florida and Georgia, where we lived for here, had very different, like, environment things going on. So, like, going outside, things didn't look familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, even more so now that we live in Massachusetts.
Oh, definitely.
There's just so many things that don't look any form of familiar. And obviously, like, this renting situation has been kind of, like, the worst, actually. So that doesn't...
obvious to everyone.
We talk about it a lot.
Oh, that's true.
But this renting situation has sucked pretty bad. And we've tried to make this place a home in the ways that we can, but it's been really hard.
We don't really feel good here.
We're excited
to leave.
We're excited to leave. And so it's just hard because, like, the best thing for us every time we've moved is making a space for, like, the kids in our system to be able to go to, like, regard as, like, a safe space for them. And that has made it easier.
Mm-hmm.
But that just, like, doesn't feel like there's room for anything here, so.
Yeah, it's really hard to have anything, like, permanent.
Now I'm looking at the chat. Yay. Pixie said us moving literally caused our system discovery. True.
Oh my god, real.
Like, that is so real.
That's valid.
Being in a new environment and is so prone to causing additional dissociation. It's so hard for us to have an identity after moving for, like, a hot second.
Yeah.
We literally have, like, yeah, I don't know. There's certain people in our system who cope better with moving, and, like, we struggle a lot with packing for moving and unpacking. There's a certain amount of things about, like, deciding what we're getting rid of is hard. And upsetting for a lot of people. There's a lot of parts of moving that are difficult. And System said, I did a Q&A about it when I first moved here, but, like, that was it. Yeah, I feel like there just aren't posts about it, and I get why. Like, there's a lot of posts about a lot of things that I've been like, I should make a post about that. But by the time that I am in a place where I can, I just don't. I have, like, the emotional disconnect from it.
Yeah.
Go DID.
That's such a DID mood.
How do you deal with gender dysphoria and body dysmorphia?
Cry.
True. I feel like I personally am one of the few people in our system that identify as a girl. I guess there's more of us now than there have been before.
Yeah.
So I don't really feel dysphoria, but we have had, like, dysmorphia our entire life. Like, even outside of, like, DID related stuff, like, we have struggled with dysmorphia. But I don't know. I feel like the answer that I will give you is we just don't look in the mirror. I don't know. Like, we have really dissociated from our body in such a way, like, that is maybe not healthy, but it's worked for us. to where we regard it as like this fun little thing that we can dress up. And like it's a collective community space. So it doesn't feel like there's this major disconnect. It's like, oh, it's this thing that we all have done together and made appear a certain way. I don't know. So it's less bad because of that, I guess. I just talked about my experience with moving, so I'm glad that someone asked about it. Are you guys poly? Sure am. We have another long-term partner. This year in December will be 10 years of us being with him. And he's not really online, so I don't really share much about him all that often. I mean, he is online, but not like in this kind of online stuff. But we also just have multiple like poly relationships in our systems. We'd be open to them dating somebody else, like stuff like that. Thank you. I hope that you didn't leave for your psychiatrist appointment. Thank you quite yet, but thank you for being nice. That was sweet. Our first winter here also really rocked us. That was hard. Literally ended with us being inpatient, so boy do I feel you.
Will you set a timer for your hair?
Sure will. Actually, my phone needs to be plugged in, so do you mind if I unplug yours?
I don't mind.
I'll just keep an eye and make sure that it doesn't die.
Yeah.
What timer do you want?
Well, also, don't you have a tracker in your room?
Yeah, probably.
We can probably just skip the other one.
What?
It needs to be at least 35 minutes.
Cool. I'll set a timer for 35 minutes. But yeah, our first winter here really rocked us. It was really hard. No one really, I mean, people say that winter is hard, but living in Florida where there isn't a winter at all, really, and going from like so much sunshine to none, the lack of vitamin D really does hit you.
Yeah.
Being cold all the time, the taking on and off your coats, there's so many different things about it that are really difficult.
Yeah, I grew up in Buffalo, New York, and winter is consistently like a big trigger in our system because growing up cold was literally traumatizing.
Being cold, then being hungry, like while you are cold because you're constantly shivering and like your body needs more and you're not used to eating more. There's a lot of things that make it very difficult. So yeah,
fun.
Very, very hard times. How do you deal with summer and hot weather, being autistic and having sensory issues? So I guess to be fair, I didn't know I was autistic for most of my life. And also I grew up in the heat, so it was kind of the more familiar thing for me. I do pretty decently with it for the most part. I do tend to get a little lightheaded. I drink a lot of like drinks with electrolytes. I kind of like regularly was drinking a Gatorade or Powerade or Pedialyte when I was in the sun in Florida during the summer. Wearing less clothes is not really an issue for me. I feel like it just, I don't know, the heat just isn't that upsetting for me.
I think it's also like the environment you were raised in is a lot more comfortable a lot of the time than like.
It's just what I know. And so I guess the only answer I can give is like ice packs are your friend, wet like frozen towels your friend, fans your friend.
I struggle a lot with temperature regulation. My biggest things for overheating are always make sure your socks and shoes are off, get your feet wet or cold if you can, get the back of your neck wet or cold if you can. Making sure that like you are hydrated enough, but also making sure your body gets enough like rest and like chill time of not like moving around and being active all day. Especially if you can plan your rest time for like the peak heat hours of the day around like 1 and 2. That's the best bet.
10 years. Wow. How old were you guys when you got together? We were 15. He was 14. We had just turned 15. So we're 24 now. Thus, when we are 25, we'll have been 10 years. We took supplements since we first got here, but wow, it still sucked. Yeah, cold weather does suck. Do you have the PDA profile of autism?
What?
Do you have the PDA profile of autism?
I struggle with demand avoidance.
I'm assuming that's what they're asking.
I struggle a lot with demand avoidance. And I've been thinking about this a lot recently, actually, because I've been struggling with demand avoidance for, like, my whole life. But I don't understand why. Because, like, obviously, it's different. Being a DID system makes things really different. Because there are those of us who are really, really strongly PDA, where it's like, if you tell me to do something, I will literally do the opposite thing just because you told me what to do. And then there are people in our system who are like, I want to be good, I want to make you happy, I want to follow the rules, I will do anything you tell me to. And I've been, like, really thinking about PDA a lot recently as a trauma response, because I think a lot of the time we don't explain well enough to autistic children what is happening, like what they need to do, why they need to do what they need to do. Like, we don't explain context to things well enough for children to understand. And so I think it kind of split as this trauma narrative of there's these perfectly compliant people in our system who are willing to do anything anyone asks because they think that that's what's going to keep them safe. And I think the PDA people in our system who are really like, if you tell me to do something, fuck you, I'm never doing that thing. I think that really comes from a place of, like, being not trusting that people have your best interest in mind, not trusting that, like, people are going to tell you to do something that's going to be good for you, and, like, I need you to sit down and explain to me in detail every reason why you want this to happen, and, like, I have to decide that it's worth it before I do it, you know?
Yeah, that's fair, and that makes sense. I mean, I feel like there are some people that just, like, aren't either. Like, there's some people in your system that are just like, I can't, it's too hard, and I feel too uncomfortable, and I'm just gonna die.
I mean, yeah, but that's not demand avoidance. That's more just, like, a sensory overwhelm. Like, yeah. I'm not willing to motivate myself. A lot of those things.
If you take SSRIs, you're more susceptible to dehydration. I know, and I take SSRIs, and I'm already, like...
And you're so bad at hydrating.
Well, before that, I'm just also... I get dehydrated really easily. So the combination of all of those things are super unfortunate. There's Pedialyte in this. Yay, hydration.
Yay, hydration. I'm going to put the leftover hair dye back in the hair dye. We only used less than 2 bottles.
Really?
I mean... Yeah, because I have stuff to put back in both of these, and I had leftover of the regular purple. But to be fair, I did put a little bit of conditioner in this one and a little bit of conditioner in this one. But
I feel like I need to show them how small these
we still didn't even use one whole bottle, I bet.
So these are the containers.
Like, each one has more than half.
And each one has more than half, which is unreal because...
Your hair takes so much dye.
My hair is really thick, and the normative experience for my hair is, like, I'm gonna need to buy 2 bottles of, like... Arctic Fox, like the second size,
like...
the second size, not the little ones, or 2 little things of like Iro. I don't even know how to pronounce that, but that's so fun.
I think it is Iro.
To be able to cover my hair, so doing it in this amount, really wonderful, really amazing.
Actually, insane. Kind of confusing. We have so much leftover dye.
Do you know about ARFID, and if you suffer, how do you deal with it? They have ARFID. I do not.
I do have ARFID. I struggle a lot with ARFID. How do I deal with it is a great question. I think it's important to have a strong list of safe foods that you can go back to when you can't eat anything else. I think it's good to motivate yourself to eat things that might not feel the most safe or that might be new, by, like, incentivizing yourself by making it fun. Do it with your family, do it with someone that you love. When I say family, I mean chosen family. Like, do it with someone that you love, make something together, cook it together, even cook something for them that they like that you don't want to eat, and don't even eat it, just play with the food. Like, cook, watch baking and cooking videos, interact with food. Smell things, like touch a new fruit at the grocery store even if you're not going to buy it. Like, literally just interact with food in new ways is a huge way that I've opened my horizons about eating. But But also, I think just give yourself the time and patience of saying, like, if today's gonna be such a sensory bad day that, like, I cannot imagine eating anything that isn't, you know, like, mac and cheese, just eat the mac and cheese. Like, there are certain things where it's like, do the things that are going to make you get through the day, and then focus on things like nutrition and getting in certain vitamins and things like that, like, when you're eating consistently.
Yeah, I feel like additionally it just, like, eating with someone is really helpful
Eating
for
with
you
someone is really helpful.
when we body double.
Well, because I'm not accountable to eating by myself.
That's true.
Also, let yourself be done. Like, don't give yourself food rules. Don't be like, oh, I have to finish this sandwich and there's 3 bites left and I don't really want to do it, but I have to. Like, don't put yourself in the positions where, like, eating is a chore or feels like it's the worst thing that you have to do right now. Obviously, it might feel that way sometimes and you might have to eat sometimes, but, like, if you can help it avoiding that situation and putting yourself in a position of saying, like, you know, I'm not up for these last 3 bites. I could save them for later and heat them up.
Or if you
like,
make something and you put it in your mouth and you're like, actually, today, like, I can't do this. Like, it's okay to pack it for another day.
Exactly. Like, it's really more about accommodating yourself, like, what you're capable of doing in the moment. And then also learning, like, you know, this is what I've learned that is, like, the fluctuation of what I'm capable of. Like, maybe on a good day, I can eat these things. On a really rough day, I can only eat, like, these 2 safe foods. And, like, here's kind of the fluctuation in between. And then you can kind of start to plan and say, like, okay, well, like, I had a really emotional day yesterday and I could only eat safe foods, so maybe we'll try to make sure that I get something with protein in it, like, tomorrow. Or maybe we'll try to make sure that I get some vegetables in today.
I feel like you've been more adventurous with food living with us.
I've been so much more adventurous with food living with you.
I just also like a lot of foods.
Well,
I'm a foodie.
I also think it's really different. Like, I think a lot of the experience of being someone with ARFID is, like, if you try something and you don't like it, the person who made it is going to be like, oh, you don't like my food? You know what I mean? Like, there's certain things where it's like, there's a lot of social pressure around food. There's a lot of expectation.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of judgment for what you eat. There are foods that are considered childish that are really safe for a lot of autistic people with ARFID. Like,
yeah. And that's just not the energy we bring to our house and the way we treat food at all.
No, there's no food judgment in our house. And I think that's a huge thing for recovery from ARFID is not holding any judgment. Like, if you're craving something that, like, you know, maybe someone has told you is a gross food or whatever, like, go eat that food. Like, if you're craving something that maybe you 3 years ago would have thought was a gross food, go eat that food. Like, listening to your body, eating intuitively, holding no judgment for food. There are no good and bad foods. Like, those are all really, really structurally important to ARFID recovery. Yeah. And, like, eating disorder recovery in general, really.
I did pronounce iro right.
Yeah.
Pixie confirmed it and said that it means to color in Japanese.
Cool.
Which I didn't know.
That's so cute.
Strangely, our little is the most adventurous with food. Me as the host has ARFID. And the little is the one that would be out at family dinners and things. I feel like it's really hard.
I don't even think that's that strange. Our most adventurous eater is also little.
That's true.
I think sometimes
most of your adventurous eaters are littles?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's like that openness, that curiosity. Also just like a lot of the time a child is like, if I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat. Whereas as an adult, we can say like, oh, I'm hungry, but like I can avoid the sensory sensation of food or like punish my body by not eating or all these different things that haven't really been part of the framework in a child's thought process yet.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of layers to experiencing something like ARFID or disordered eating just because of the way that like the world, or at least Western society, treats food. And I think that also plays a big part in like the social pressure of it, the like good and bad foods, when like the answer is just like your body deserves to be nourished, your body deserves to feel good. Eating should not feel like a chore. You shouldn't be eating something if you think it's gross.
Things.
Mm-hmm.
So the things that someone else eats aren't going to be the things that fill your body, that make you feel good, that nourish you. Like, eating is such a personal experience. When it's a community experience, that can be so beautiful as well. But it just is not like your job to appease the other people in the world and their ideas about food when you nourish your own body.
What's your favorite safe food? Or what are your favorite safe foods?
I don't know.
I feel like collectively, you guys have really liked samosas recently.
We love samosas. That's true.
I feel like you've really liked...
I like Indian food a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Indian foods that are safe foods for me. I like Greek food a lot. That tends to be really safe.
You did go through a cannoli phase? Of
Yeah.
bringing home a cannoli pretty regularly? I feel like...
I like sweets in general. There's really not that many sweets that I don't like.
Yeah. I feel like... we go through little different...
Quesadillas are like one of my all-time safest foods, like from childhood. French fries.
Cheese toasties.
Cheese toasties. That's like a poor kid food. I feel like cheese toasties and cinnamon sugar toast. That's like the two foods of my childhood.
Poutine.
Poutine.
I feel like there's a lot of different things that we eat together.
Yeah, I love food. Like, collectively, we care a lot about food. I think it's, like, really complicated because there are, like, some of us who have, like, really, really prolific struggles with eating disorders. But, like, food can make us really, really happy. Like, when the people who like to eat in our system eat, they're always stimming. Like, there's always someone in my system who's excited about food, especially the kids are always like, oh, I want to make this for dinner. Or like, oh, like...
You guys like cooking. You like baking. You like making me something and watching me stim while I eat it. Like...
Yeah. That's, like, the best feeling in the world. I really do like making food. And, like, even if I'm not going to eat it, like, it's a very soothing process. I really do recommend that if you have ARFID that you interact with food in more ways than just eating it. It's one of the most healing things, like, about my eating disorder recovery was when I started, like, watching food videos a lot and cooking more.
Pin System said, when we have decision paralysis about what to eat, the saying, eating something is better than nothing at all, helps us at least get something in our tummy.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have ARFID, I so recommend having a list of foods to go to. Whether it's for the sake of your grocery list or whatever, that you always have something that you're like, oh, I can get this. This is something safe to have in the house. For a little bit, when I was living with roommates in Orlando, I had a list of, like, things that were in the fridge at all times, so I could reference the list because I look at a fridge and I can't, like, see.
Process.
Yeah. So that's super helpful.
Will you check the time over here?
I will. 19 minutes.
Nice. Really kind of
But yeah, having a list sometimes, or even, like, having a list that's numbered and then spinning a wheel, or, like, having Siri pick a number for you, and then just eating that if you genuinely don't care what you're eating. Great ideas. Decision paralysis is really hard.
Yeah.
And then multiple people said that they are enjoying this conversation and that it's really healing regarding food.
Yeah!
I feel really strongly about that in particular. I feel like we were raised by... one of our parents had an eating disorder. Undiagnosed, but, like, very clear eating disorder signs. And instilled disordered eating with us, like, throughout our entire childhood of, like, what food should look like. So it's been a really big part of our journey in a lot of ways. While, like, the other parent was kind of the opposite. There was just a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
As I was being raised in my relationship with food. So it's kind of really messed up. And it's taken a lot of thought to think about the ways that I treat my body and I nourish my body and the choices that I make. And the ways that I talk about myself. And it's all very important.
It is very important. And I think it's also something that, like, I think you have to be a lot more careful with when you have DID. Because it's like,
Yeah.
I'm someone in our system who struggles with eating disorder stuff a lot. And I also know that, like, I need to be so careful about the way that I talk about my body, the way that I eat, the things that I choose to eat, all those different things, because some of those choices aren't mine. And some of those things don't just affect me. And if I'm going to be here with my feelings of, oh, this food that's so terrible that someone else in the system ate, like, that's not going to create a healthy system dynamic. It's not going to create, like, a healthy space for them to be willing to eat the foods that they are willing to eat. Like, there's just nothing good that comes from judgment.
Yeah, I feel like we could do a whole little, like, podcast spiel on food and eating.
I think it would be helpful. Well, I also think, like, it's so complicated because, like, with, like, physical disability issues, with autism and sensory issues, and then also you want to talk about the socialization of how we are, like, taught that eating looks and what food looks like, and especially, like, we both have the experience of being raised AFAB in bodies where, like, the size of our body and how that has a relationship with food is also very traumatizing at times.
Yeah. I also just feel like, at least for, like, my parent who struggles with eating things, like, it was a generational thing. Like, it was one of the ways that generational trauma existed in my family. Like, you know, one of my grandparents had issues with food in an opposite way. Like, she was raised during the Depression. They didn't have money. Like, she struggled with her weight a lot, and she wanted to control one of my parents, the way that they, like, consumed food and engaged with food. So then they had, like, that unhealthy relationship that then passed on to me.
Yeah.
It's just wild. Pin System said, if I video call with my partner, they help me learn how to cook, and it helps a bunch. Yeah,
Yay.
I'm not much of a cook. I honestly do not cook at all in this house. I used to cook chili sometimes. I used to cook some things. But honestly, I don't really anymore. But also,
you don't really need to.
Yeah, you like cooking.
I love cooking.
I don't like cooking.
I also like taking care of you and making you happy.
You make good food. Pixie said, bro, this is so on the nose. Strawberry System said, was talking about how one parent used weight as an insult, and the other is like a almond parent, which I think is like crunchy parent vibes.
No, almond is like eating disorder mom.
Gotcha.
It's like you're eating almonds and that's your meal for lunch.
Okay, got you.
That's what almond mom
Low-key
means.
my mom.
Yeah, exactly. I also had like a eating disorder mom.
To such a horrible degree, it's been hard, but we've done so much work. Ghibli System said, yeah, it's so helpful for me to think about that I'm judging the same body that the littles use. It's not just me.
Exactly. That can be so life-saving sometimes because I'm like, I can have the feelings that I have when I'm fronting about being in this body, and also, like, if someone else, like, if one of the kids in the system is going to front and want, like, 3 cheeseburgers in one day, like, there's no way in hell that I'm going to be like, oh, but something about my size, or oh, but something about the way that I look.
It would literally make them so happy.
Like, I don't know, it makes it easier for me in a lot of ways because it's not just me, and it's not just my comfort. It's about, like, taking care of this, like, kind of community internally, which I think it's kind of nice having accountability to quote-unquote other people sometimes.
Yeah, because it's like, I feel like that's the easiest way to get you to do something you don't want to do. Like, you'll be struggling to take meds, or struggling to eat, or struggling to, like, hydrate, or whatever.
And you'll be like, do you want Twigs to come out and be so upset that your needs are so unmet?
Do you want someone in your system who
Yeah,
struggles
Hazel
with the sensory discomfort of not being fed and not being hydrated to come out and be so upset and sad?
It's true.
And it works. It's a good tool.
It's true. That's always gonna make me get up. Cause what am I gonna do? Make Twigs sad? Make Hazel sad? I don't think so.
Exactly.
No, I don't think so,
Yeah, it's also just hard sometimes because sometimes there'll be a kid who struggles with, like, meeting needs out, and we'll be like, but, like, you can't go back to sleep. You can't go back to sleep and avoid it because then you're gonna wake up and feel worse. And they're like, but that's later me's problem.
That's not my problem right now.
I'm like, no! But yeah, the AFAB eating disorder generational trauma pipeline is kind of unreal.
Oh my gosh, ridiculous. I feel like I don't know a single AFAB person who hasn't been affected by, like, some form of either their parents' eating disorder or, like, their, I don't know, some form of generational food issues.
A really big factor in my healing from that was also just from the mindset of, like, when I talk about my body, besides people in my system, who else is listening to me? And the answer is, like, you know, do friends of mine that are around me have, like, similar bodies to mine, larger bodies than mine? Am I making fun of a feature that we share?
Right.
Because, like, I know that when I'm critical of my body, I don't mind that on anyone else. It's just about me. But also I know the way that words have impact. So it's like if I'm going to sit here and make negative comments about the size of my body, like the people around me are going to hear me.
Yeah.
And like that impacts them too. And that was a really big part of like why. That, and I hated the way that like I listened to people in my childhood talk about other people's bodies. That was another big factor. I didn't want to be that way.
That makes sense.
So that was always big parts. Also, we totally, because of my school, we have a really nice mic that we just have had, like, in our house for, like, 2 or 3 weeks that we haven't used at all. At all. And we wanted to film a video or do something with it. Oh, no.
I didn't see that. Sorry.
Or do something with it, but
I'm sure.
we haven't decided what that's going to be yet. I wanted to do a video essay, but that's separate of, like, things that we would create together. I made a video essay for one of the finals in my class, and I really liked it, and I think that I want to do another one. But I don't know what we'll end up using the mic for. I have to return it I have to return it at the end of the month. So hopefully we'll do something before that. This is annoying.
What?
Just another person that is being removed by. See you later.
Okay. Well, I'll wash up your face after.
Bam.
This is gonna be a fun little game to see how long this stays on my hands.
True. Pin System said, damn, I never thought about it like that. Y'all just blew my mind. Yes, Strawberry System said, yes, would you say this to someone else? Hope so much, because of course I wouldn't. Yeah, like, honestly, thinking about it the way of, like, then it made me super conscious of the way that other people talked about their bodies, because I would be in a room with multiple people and someone would make a negative comment about their body, and I kind of would, like, look around the room, and, like, I could tell that those things had impact on other people.
Oh, for sure. They do. And especially, like, that's just something that's so...
Normalized.
It's so normalized. I don't think people really understand how traumatic this, like, social culture around food is, really for everyone, because we can talk about, like, obviously the AFAB experience of, like, generational trauma, eating disorders, and size relationship with, like, body weight and the amount of food you eat and all these different things.
And the shape of your body and the way that certain body parts of yours look, and do they jiggle, and do they have marks, and do they have this, and...
Exactly. Like, we could go on forever, and that's obviously, like, a traumatic element of, like, being raised AFAB and, like, being literally just alive in our society. But also, like, there's really no one who gets out scot-free from that. Like, the amount of, like, gym bro eating disorder.
I feel like it's just a different brand.
It's obviously a different brand, and, like, there's a variety of diverse experiences. It's not like eating disorder AFAB or eating disorder AFAB are the only two experiences. But, like, it's very much, like...
There's only two genders.
No. It's very much, like, obvious that the way that we socially deal with food, nutrition, health, and beauty standards surrounding, like, how we take care of our bodies, how we present ourselves, are harmful to everyone. And one of those other things that really helps me, besides the would I say this to someone else, is the, like, who decided, who told me this, who told me that I was prettier if I was skinnier.
That's always the way to, like, change your mind about something. Like, we'll be talking about something, and I'm like, oh, this is how it ties back to white supremacy. And you're like, actually, just kidding.
No, exactly, because, like, a lot of the time it's, like, you know, the things that are...
Here's how it ties back to patriarchy, here's how it ties back to this, and you're like, oh.
Exactly, and, like, once I see that it comes from a bad place, why would I listen to it? Like, I'm not going to keep my body looking, like, young and thin and vulnerable because of pedophilic beauty standards. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Ghibli System said, I'm doing the fake it till you make it method where I'll show my partner really happily a new stretch mark, and it's so cute. I love stretch marks. I've learned to love mine so much. I have stretch marks specifically on my thighs, on my inner thighs, and they're kind of like a purplish color. Sometimes when I'm more tan, they show up as more of like a goldish color, but I think the purple's pretty cool. I think both are pretty cool. I'm pro stretch mark. And I wouldn't be mad if I had more. Those are just... honestly, I might have some on my butt, too. I just can't see them, so...
I've been gaining weight a lot recently, and I feel like I've also been faking it till I make it. Of, like, every time I see my boobs in the mirror and they're a little bit bigger, I'm like, maybe I don't mind gaining weight.
Yeah, you're right. BMI is based on racist standards.
That's true.
Boo BMI. It doesn't do anything. It's dumb.
It's stupid. Check timer.
I don't trust people that are like 7 minutes. That are like health nuts at all. 0 out of 10.
Me neither.
I call stretch marks lightning marks, and it's usually followed by me saying ka-chow if my partner shows me theirs.
Ciao! That's so cute. That makes me so happy.
I love that.
Lightning McQueen.
I think they're just cool stripes. I'm like a tiger.
I love tigers.
But it's also like, I don't know, it's funny because I remind myself that there are things that I don't like about myself, but there's also somebody on the street who probably saw that feature and thought it was cool.
Yeah. And also, like, there are things that I don't like about myself, but also, like, how many bad ideas do I have in a day?
Many.
Like, I'm not that impressed. Oh, I thought something bad about myself. Like, I'll think 100 other things about myself. I'll think I'm a god. I'll think I'm possessed by the devil. Like, we don't have to believe every thought I have about me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That just reminds me of, like, when people on the internet are like, you're faking mental illness, and I'm like, me who lives with you. No, they're not. I promise they're not.
Oh, God. Yeah. It's honestly really funny because there's this one person who, like, I literally haven't talked to since, like, before I left Buffalo. Like, we probably haven't talked since I was, like, 19. And
I know what you're gonna say before you're gonna say it.
And, like, I literally have not talked to this person. We were never close either. Like, we never talked, like, about my mental health or, like, my personal issues. And I had posted something on social media and someone had commented, like, faking, like, you're attention seeker, whatever. And this person who literally I don't know was like, actually, I know them IRL and no, they're definitely not faking. And I was like, oh no, what did I do in front of you? I was like, of all the fucking people.
Living with you in the months of October and November, I can promise you're not faking.
Look.
Yeah.
What is October and November?
This past year when you were like, right.
Oh, because
right
I
as
was
you were
off my
obsessively.
antipsychotics?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you're obsessively writing Ephemeral Heart Edition 1.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm not usually off my antipsychotics. So.
Yeah, that's true.
It was like a special
It's like
one
funny.
time.
It's like funny in
only.
retrospect. Like we can laugh about it in retrospect. Like we're not making a joke about it by any means, but also we kind of are because all we can do is laugh. It was funny.
I mean, I had to live through it.
Yeah, you have a right to
I
laugh.
almost didn't, so.
Ooh. Yeah.
But here I am now, purple fingered and pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to be on your antipsychotics. Go figure. I mean, I guess that makes it sound like a choice that I was off of them, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't off of them on purpose. Take your meds, kids.
Yeah. Meds are very important.
Meds are so slay. I should medicate.
You should. You can go smoke.
Yeah, but not right now. I'm literally just wearing a bra and pajama shorts.
Oh, so true.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go outside.
I
like this.
forgot that our back door was broken. I was like, you could just puff out the door.
Yeah, but that also makes me nervous because the back neighbors.
Ever.
I mean, I'm not like nervous that they're gonna talk to me. I just don't want them to see me titties out.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
I just feel like people have been so weird in my direction while we've lived here.
That's true.
And like, I really don't want it. I really don't want it.
I'm almost officially weaned off of Seroquel and I'm feeling good finally. I'm so glad.
Oh my
Seroquel fucked me up so
God.
bad.
I'm so glad. I know the weaning process is terrible. Literally, the withdrawal symptoms are like killer. You look so slaying. I'm so excited to see what it looks like.
Yeah. Trialing meds is so hard.
Yeah, I'm literally like freaking still trialing meds. I've been on psych meds since I was fucking, what, 11?
Yeah.
You can't figure out something to make this better? Bunky. Bunky Barnes.
Ooh. when I go off of meds, because they're working and I think that I'm healed.
No!
Yeah.
I feel like that's such like a mentally ill person thing that like so many people do.
Yeah.
I've never done that.
I've never done that. I feel like for me, what happens is like I'm a creature of routine. So when I get into a habit of taking my meds, like I never forget.
Uh-huh.
But if there's something that interrupts my routine and I don't take my meds, then it's hard to get back into taking them.
That's true.
So like for example, I got my tonsils out recently, and I
You weren't allowed.
I wasn't allowed to
take
take
all of
my
your
meds.
medications the morning of the appointment.
Yes. So then after that, my throat was also just so swollen that it was hard to take anything. That taking
or like
pills
even
was
just
really
swallow
hard.
water.
Yeah, swallowing was just hard. So I didn't take it, and I was kind of a mess as a result. Oopsie poopsie. Yes, I had a couple scary withdrawal moments. I was on Seroquel for 11 years, LOL, going on to Wellbutrin, and I'm very excited. I feel like I was on Wellbutrin at some point.
I've been on Wellbutrin a couple times.
I don't remember how it did me. I don't think it did me dirty, though.
Good.
I feel like it was just like, okay.
I'm sending you so much luck. I hope it goes well. I feel like
I've
being
heard
on the
good
same
things about
medication for that long and then switching can be so like nerve-wracking. But also, Wellbutrin didn't work for me, but that also doesn't mean fucking anything because it's
really
a different
funny.
body than mine.
Because it's like, I was put on something in the semi-recent for nightmares. I don't remember what it was called.
I remember, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But I was put on it because I was told that it was really good for DID patients, and that if I did well on it, that I'd be able to take one at night. That would help me with my nightmares, and then take one eventually in the morning that would be able to keep me more regulated and like make it less likely for me to go into fight or flight type of vibes. I did not do well on it, but there's so many people who do really well on it. Yeah. So it's like it's really just a toss up.
Yeah, meds are so about your own body and your own makeup.
I'm very sensitive to medication.
I'm not.
Yeah, we're opposites in that way.
I'm like super not sensitive to medication, but it's also because I was like medicated so much of my childhood so severely.
That was my little thingy.
Are you ready to shower?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Rigby.
Rigby's ready for action.
Rigby? What? What? I feel like I'm having fun, though.
Okay, we can stay. I mean, your hair doesn't have to be washed until...
That's true. Maybe we'll stay a little longer.
Yeah. I wouldn't let it get, like, dry, but...
Yeah.
It could stay longer.
Meds are very wild. Like, meds are so different for everybody.
Oh, for sure.
Rigby, Hey. No. What makes you think, little boy?
Honestly, at some point, like, I will just release a poetry book that's only about medication and, like, disability medication and, like, seeking treatment. Because literally, like, the amount of poems that I have that are just about medication, insane.
Yeah. Go through and write a poem with the title of every med you've ever
Med
been on.
trauma. That moment when you've been on so many medications for so many things for your whole life.
Yeah, I also feel like it's wild because, like...
Sticking straight out.
Yeah, so the meds that I was on for nightmares were, God, I'm not gonna remember the name, but essentially...
Was it trazodone?
No, I'm still on trazodone. Trazodone helps me go to bed.
Actually, maybe we should wash. This bottom part is getting dry.
Okay, so cool. I will finish the sentence and then maybe we'll come back later.
Yeah.
But the med that I was on just essentially made it so that my, maybe heart rate was lower. Made it so that, like, I was more balanced, less likely to go into fight or flight, so, like, wouldn't be as reactive in my sleep, wouldn't wake up from nightmares, like, having a bad time, which was happening for, like, a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
Waking up either remembering or not remembering and just, like, shaking so bad. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday, happy birthday.
But yeah, I still don't remember what we were talking about before that. I think we were kind of going into a tangent about something, but maybe for later.
Probably we won't remember later. We might just be here later, though.
Yeah, that's true. If you guys want us to be back later, I don't know, DM them.
Or just we'll do it if we feel like it. I don't know. Honestly, I don't appear by request.
That's true.
I'm the worst about that. I'm like,
then DM me
I'll
because
be here when I'm here.
Because I'm the vibe of like, oh, cool, people want to, and like I kind of want to, but I don't want to be here if no one wants me to be here.
I used to be that way more. I think part of it is that I was such a social media people pleaser for so long, and I was like, I will make anything you want. That now I'm like, no, I'm just gonna do whatever I want. I don't even want feedback.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Like, that's why I'm the person who, like, will answer all of my DMs, and that's not your vibe anymore.
Not anymore. I just can't do it anymore. I might get back there, you know, but, like, it's just...
It's not happening.
It's not happening right now, especially, like, I don't know.
But, yeah, I like the vibe of this chat in particular. You guys are cool.
You guys are cool.
So I kind of want to come back later because of that alone. So if you guys are going to be free later, come hang out with us.
And DM them about it.
And DM me about it if you want it.
DMs.
My DM is... My Instagram is honeypoffin. That's me. Hi. Howdy.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I forgot that was there. I need to finish it.
The tattoo on your leg?
Yeah. Sorry. Can I get a warning?
So yeah, we'll be back later then, I guess.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, how do you spell? Oh, thank you, Pin System. Pin System coming in clutch with my app.
Yeah.
Woo! Okay.
Alright, we're gonna go wash hair. Bye.
I don't really know. Oh, there we go. Bye.